sports talk from start to finish.
You're going wire to wire
With Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
I cannot believe that I'm pulling a Dewey here and saying these words. But this girl needs to be fired. It's Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson. We are live here at the Springfield location, Ingles Markets, inside the Corner Cafe. Come see us. We've got your Eagles gift cards. If you stop by and say the words Tolo, we'll hook you up with an Ingles gift card. But Cole, this story is now starting to make its rounds and has been for the last 24 hours or so. Haley Sawyer, AP voter out of Southern California, who writes about the Southern Cal Trojans, just completely missed the mark, whiffed, and maybe was exposed not paying attention to what was going on in college football and put out what might be the most embarrassing AP Top 25 ever.
You mean to tell me there was somebody that covers a team locally on a local level that had a responsibility and a hand in voting on a national level? That's what
Correct.
you're telling me
That's
here,
what
right?
I'm telling you. That's
Okay,
what I'm telling
that makes perfect sense.
And that's how the AP is set up. 62 different sports writers from all over the country.
Yep.
You should get a pretty good national perspective of what's going on by having somebody in most of these markets.
Keyword should.
Yeah, should.
Does it surprise me? No, it doesn't surprise me at all. And I'll tell you, I had not heard the audio until you sent it to me earlier. And after hearing it, man, it kind of makes it worse. It really does.
So here's what's going on. If you're not familiar with this story, that, again, it broke sort of middle of the afternoon yesterday. Haley Sawyer is one of 62 AP voters, covers Southern Cal, and she's in hot water because she ranked Florida number 14 in her Week 3 AP poll. Now, you might just say, well, that's just kind of her opinion, man. She thinks Florida's a pretty good football team. Here's the problem. She ranked them 2 spots higher than she had them a week ago.
Moved them up.
Before they lost to an in-state G5 South Florida Bulls. Meanwhile, South Florida actually fell in her poll and didn't move up at all after beating those said Florida Gators.
So my whole thing is with this, these voters, I understand the structure to your point of how it works. But, back in the days of print journalism, we don't have as much anymore at a local level where we live, right? Because the internet's kind of taken over, Diesel. We still have print journalism in big cities and different parts of the country. But, back in the days of print journalism, the writers by their deadline would send their article, send their story in. But guess what had to be done before the story was published? It had to be proofread. And that proofreading was a very important part of the conversation because, errors, things slip by. Maybe we just need to understand that these AP polls, any poll out there, if we're going to have this many voters, where's the person that's proofreading these things?
Right.
Where's the person that's looking at these submissions, Diesel, before they're sent in thinking, whoa, ma'am, do you realize what you just did? Do you realize Florida lost? You do realize Florida lost, right?
Yeah.
And you moved them up 2 spots.
Well,
that would make too much sense, I'm afraid.
It's one thing to make that mistake, right? She's in Southern California. They're 3 hours behind. She was covering USC. I don't know if USC played a late game last weekend or not, but, she's up late covering different sports and watching various games. Maybe it just kind of slipped through the cracks. Maybe she was tired and just kind of thought that Florida would win the game because they're the bigger school. They have the better roster. They have more money and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the problem, Cole. When somebody called her on it, she didn't just say, oops, my bad, guys. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
She doubled down with this piece of audio, and this is the smoking gun.
But as far as what my votes are and what my process is, I wake up early in the morning after covering a game late in the night before. Don't want to go too much into my process or logic, but I will say I appreciate everybody's interaction on social media and all of your feedback. There's tons of people that vote on the AP poll, and it's not a perfect system, but at the end of the day, no matter who you pick, it does even out because there's so many people who vote. And like I said, it's really fun for discussion. It doesn't, probably matter in the end, but
yeah, it does.
I'm glad that people are having a really good time with
What an
Oh,
idiot.
Yeah,
What an
it
idiot.
doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
I
It
mean,
doesn't really matter.
it'll get washed
Does
out.
he think this is just for funsies?
Yeah.
That
Did
is
she win
oh,
her voting spot in a Cracker Jack box?
no kidding, man.
Lady, how can you be this tone deaf? Your job is to cover the sport. And I assume that you're a smart person and you love sports. So how do you not understand that what you did was insanely stupid?
You know, what's bad about it, before we even hear the audio, before we heard the audio, it's bad enough. And then her explanation just makes it like 10 times worse. I mean, I want to replay the first part.
But as far as what my votes are and what my process is,
First of all, she sounds like some lady that was paid to call into a radio station and do a PSA, right?
Sure she's not AI?
It does sound AI, kind of Siri, right?
Yeah.
It almost sounds, all right, so first of all, this is the part I have a problem with.
you know, I wake up early in the morning after covering a game late in the night before.
Well, no freaking crap.
Everyone does.
Every single person has to stay up late and covering. I wake up early. We all do. We all watch the sport. That's the worst. Like, why even bring that? That is your job.
Look, and I'm trying really hard here to not turn this into, well, she's just a girl who doesn't know. That's not the point here. The point is her job, her profession is to cover the sport. And she does a terrible job doing it.
It's
That's
just
my
for
problem.
funsies.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to
It really
all
doesn't
even out
matter.
in the end. I mean, it's just an AP poll,
Look,
right?
It's, to me, my big issue with this is it's disrespectful to the sport as a whole.
Agreed.
It's disrespectful to every player, every coach, and every fan who is affected by this flippant, oh, well, you know, I didn't really take it all that seriously attitude. And look, I have, as a G5 fan, I've had this chip on my shoulder for years that the AP voters give the benefit of the doubt to the large programs with the brand power, and they don't look closely enough at the other teams that may or may not be better than some of those power brands. And this is proof.
Yeah.
And my problem is I guarantee you, she is not the only one who's ever just, oh, crap, I got to fill this thing in real quick and
Just
send
fill
it
it,
off to the AP.
And you know what's funny about it? There are different polls out there at easily different levels, right? High school, college, and pro. Polls are just that, polls. We've had that conversation many, many times. Look, I vote in a poll at the high school level for you know, that covers the entire state. It's a statewide poll, a media poll. And for me, just voting in a small state level high school media poll, I still like to know what's going on. I still like to know why this person's being dropped down, why this team's being dropped or bumped up, rather. And the fact that this lady doubled down, to your point, just come out and say, you know what, made a mistake. If she does that, we're not even having this conversation today. We're not even talking about it. If she just says, hey, I made a mistake, wasn't really paying attention like I should have, you know, it's a typo. Blame, you know, it was a mistake. And instead, she doubles down.
Don't want to go too much into my progress
because there
process
is
or
no
logic,
process.
but,
process?
You have no logic.
Your process says there is no process.
Yeah.
I will say I appreciate everybody's interaction on social media and all of your feedback.
That just shows, like, right there, the ignorance. That just shows the
You know,
ignorance.
That's the
There's
nice
tons
way
of
of
people.
saying I've had thousands of people hitting
All
my
over
DMs
me.
and tweeting me and saying you're an idiot and you should be fired and you should be thrown out of journalism and reporting. But thanks for the interaction. It's really
Thanks.
great.
The AP
It's
poll,
great.
and like it's not a perfect system, but at the end
Yeah,
of the day,
because you're in it.
no matter who you pick, it does even out because there's so many.
Here's the
people
worst
who
part right here.
vote. And like I said, it's really fun for discussion. It doesn't, you know, probably matter in the end.
It
but
doesn't matter in the end.
I'm just glad she's having fun. That's you know,
Yeah.
that's the big thing.
It's all that
I'm just glad.
matters.
Look, yesterday we brought up a term that I didn't think we would ever bring up a second time on the show: statistical significance. That's the point at which you have enough data to represent the whole and minimize outliers. I don't know if 62 out of 63 meets that threshold of statistical significance, but when you've got, or 61 out of 62, when you've got one person who's a complete dolt like this, who doesn't know who won and lost games, who moves a team that lost to an inferior G5 in-state opponent, moves them up while moving that other team down, get out of the sport. You don't deserve to be covering the
No,
sport.
we're just having fun. At the end of the day, it's just the interaction. It doesn't really matter. That's not the audio. That's me mocking about that. I know it sounds
pretty
just
close,
identical.
honestly,
It really
yeah.
does.
It's good.
It's so bad. You know what? We've got to get to a point where it is whatever poll it is. And I know the college football playoff poll has so many people involved. With this AP thing, man, we've got to have somebody who's not the dictator, but somebody who's
Yeah.
kind of cracking down on this to make sure this kind of stuff doesn't happen. Because it makes a poll like this lose its credibility instantly.
This is why, I say things like I lean towards the data more than the polls. We've talked about that over the last couple of days, and maybe you want to change your position on
No, just get rid of
supporting the
her.
polls.
Just get rid of her.
But in some small sense here, Cole, I get it, because eventually your brain goes into data overload. You just cannot compute any more information. What you saw one quarterback do in a noon game, you might think that the quarterback in the 3:30 game did. You just can't consume and analyze and process that much data. We are not computers. But at the end of the day, the AP at least needs to provide some form of data of who won, who lost. Here's information on how these teams looked, so that they actually have a resource to use instead of just making it up, pulling it out of their rear ends.
So I've got a conspiracy now. Maybe, just maybe, this woman was paid off. Maybe, the people like you of the World Diesel don't like the AP, wanted the AP to lose all credibility, right? So they paid this woman off to say something idiotic. And that's what happened. That's what it is.
No. I think the SEC is paying her to prop up one of their garbage tier teams that we all thought was going to be good. Oh, you can't let this DJ Lagway and Billy Napier is turning it around narrative die this early in the season. We can't have that happen. So we got to prop them up. It's a wild situation. And again, I think she ought to be stripped of her AP vote. I don't know what the rest of you Tolos think, but message in 844 fan phone.
And by the way, Tolos, I mean, what? How many times do we have to tell you? How many times do we have to tell you the exact same thing? This Upset Picks Challenge does not open until 4 o'clock. We've had like 5 texts already.
Yeah.
And it doesn't open yet. The store is closed. The close sign still on the door.
Keith and TR, you've been playing this Upset Picks Challenge for years now. You know this. You know the rules. Keith and TR, Percy, Kane, all you Tolos. Clemson 83. That's 4 of you at least.
I say this.
You're picking too early.
I say we start deducting points for early entries. If you're going to send it in early, you lose a point.
I like it.
I mean, come on. What are we doing, guys? 4 o'clock. It's literally 7 minutes from right now?
Look at Cole being penal over there.
I know. Let's penalize him. Penalize him. Get him out of here. Throw him out.
Cole, this is another wild story to start the show. We got so much to get through. Bill Bender is going to be joining us on the show from the Sporting News. Ian Unsworth, broadcaster for the Hub City Spartanburgers,
big win last night.
On the show. They've won their first playoff game. But Cole, I do want to hit this real quick, and Dabo brought this up. He touched on it in his press conference yesterday, just how similar, in a bad way, this 2025 Clemson team has been to the 2016 Clemson team, which went on to win a national championship, by the way. Good team that year. But somebody, Cole, went back and compiled stats about Clemson versus Troy, who Clemson played in 2025 and in 2016, and how eerily similar those two games played out. And it's not just like 1 or 2 stats. I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff at you, and you're going to say there's absolutely no way that all of these statistics aligned in the way that they did. But here we go. 2016, Clemson was a 33.5-point favorite. 2025, 31.5-point favorite.
Pretty close.
2016, Troy's offense scored 10 points in the first half. 2025, they scored 10 points in the first half. 2016, Troy missed a 51-yard field goal wide right as time expired in the first half. 2025, Troy missed a 48-yard field goal wide right as time expired in the first half. 2016, Clemson had 32 carries for 122 yards. 2025, Clemson had 31 carries for 120 yards. 2016, Clemson's defense had 3 interceptions, each by a different player, totaling 13 return yards. 2025, Clemson's defense had 3 interceptions, each by a different player, totaling 13 return yards. I don't want to go out of breath. I don't want to lose my voice reading all these stats, but penalties, almost identical. Time of possession, almost identical. Troy quarterback passing yards, almost identical. and the list just keeps on going on. It's amazing how this happens. I can't explain it unless you're trying to say we're in a simulation and none of this is real.
You just read off the same game, or I mean, that was all.
Essentially,
I mean, really, pretty much, right? That it's wild. And Dabo talked about it. In case you didn't hear it yesterday, Dabo said after the game was over, he went back in his office and he found the note card or the page or whatever it was, Diesel, from the Troy game.
Yep.
In 2016. And he said yesterday in his presser that he could have literally taken that note card and read that to the team on Saturday of just how eerie similar it was. And things like that just don't happen often. For it to be against Troy and all those things, all those similarities you just read off, it number one, it's wild. But number two, it just goes to show that maybe you don't want to schedule Troy ever freaking again.
Well, maybe if it works out this season, and it doesn't look like it will so far, but if it works out and Clemson goes on a run and wins a national championship, maybe you want to schedule Troy every year.
Yeah, keep dreaming.
play bad against Troy, win a national championship.
Isn't that wild, man? That's so wild. I know that sometimes you throw statistics and things like that out there. And look, does Clemson have the talent to win a national championship? I think we would all still agree that, yeah, they have the talent to win a national championship because so many people, including myself, in the offseason, picked them to be in the national championship and picked them to win the national championship. So, on the 10th day of September now, all of a sudden it seems outlandish to say that Clemson's going to win the national championship. Mm-hmm. They still have the talent, right? There's not some massive injury that's taken place that all of a sudden now is going to limit them from winning it all. However, sometimes we talk about the eye test and the proof being in the pudding. Sometimes you just want to see, you want to see it to believe it, right? Going back to old Santa Claus, you just can't believe that after watching two games against LSU where their defense was really good, their offense was bad. Against Troy where their defense was okay at times, but really bad at times. And their offense was just meh until, key points in the second half. So, you would be crazy to believe that this team right now is going to win it all, but Diesel, they still have the same team that everybody, the Josh Pates and everybody in the world picked them to win it all 2, 3, 4 weeks ago.
Tolo JWM on the text line, 844-326-3663, says, y'all Clemson fans are really clutching at straws. What are you talking about, JWM? These are not straws. These are facts. The facts are it's insane how many statistics line up between these two games. Now, the part after that, that's, of course, we're joking. How can you not tell? Can you not hear in our voices that we're joking and making fun of the situation? Come on, man. Read the room. Appreciate a little context here. Understand what you're listening to before breaking your thumbs to get to your phone's type pad.
Yeah, it is. By the way, before we run to a break, I did something that is super weird, but super cool, but super funny as well.
Oh.
So.
Did you video it?
Yeah, actually I did.
Oh.
So Evan from Promotions sent me a picture of you and I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And normally I'll take this picture and post it on our social medias. However, there's this feature with Twitter now, and it allows you to turn a picture into a video with Grok.
Really?
Not Gronk, not Gronkowski. Grok. It's like
You think Gronk knows how to use the internet?
It's Come like on. A Twitter AI. So, Diesel, I'm going to show you this for the first time. And by the way, Tolos, if you want to see it, it's on our Twitter @TheFanUpstate. This is so weird. All right, here's live reaction. Here's the picture, right? Ready?
Yeah.
That's the picture.
Okay.
Hit play. Watch what happens. This is so weird. Look, Diesel's talking. My head's turning. Your hands are together. You're clapping. You're looking at me.
Wow.
And that's not a real video.
That's scary how easy AI video generation is becoming. I saw a video clip the other day. I know this is great sports talk radio, where a guy was in court and he used AI to generate a lawyer to argue on his behalf.
In the world,
the judge, not happy about it one bit. She's like, get that stuff out. You're guilty right now. We're not even going to do the trial. You're guilty. Death penalty.
AI, man, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So make sure you follow us on Twitter @TheFanUpstate. By the way, Tolo's out there. Appreciate the early submissions. If you just tuned into the show, I want to remind you one more time, the Upset Picks Challenge opens at 4 p.m. 40 minutes from right now, the Upset Picks Challenge opens. Want to dive into the 0-1 teams in the very next segment that are A-OK as of right now, and also the 0-1 teams out there that are at a really big point in the NFL season where all of a sudden the second game becomes a must-win. We'll do that next right here on the Fan Upstate. Well, how bad is it to start 0-1 in the NFL? I can tell you that it's not as bad as starting 0-2 because if you look at the numbers, if you look at the statistics, boy, when you start 0-2 in the NFL, it does make life difficult. We'll get into that. Which teams in the NFL that are 0-1 right now are okay? Which teams that are 0-1 are really, really needing a win? Welcome to Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. So good to be with you on this Wednesday, this hump day edition of the show. We're live this afternoon. It's not morning, by the way. Did you know that?
Did you just wake up?
No, I wish I would have. Maybe I just did. 8650 Asheville Highway in Boiling Springs. It's a Springfield location right across from Mountain View Prep. And just a quick side note, Tolos, if you are on social media, I just advise right now in this time that we're in that you do stay off of social media in case you're sensitive to graphic videos. In case you haven't heard, there's been a horrible shooting today involving Charlie Kirk. And unfortunately, you can't get on Twitter without seeing these videos that are so disturbing. I saw the video and wish, Diesel, that I could unsee it from my brain. I wouldn't advise any Tolos out there to show the video or send the video. It's already all over social media. Obviously, it's just a horrible act of violence that happened earlier today at this event.
Yeah.
And, this is a sports station, but in reality, it's life. And, sometimes you just don't have the words to say. And I will tell you this, Tolos, also on days like today, when you hear about things like this happening, it does make sports radio difficult to do, not because we're struggling to find things to talk about, but because it's reality. Like Diesel said, it's life. And regardless of what side of the political sphere you find yourself on, violence is never the answer. And man, it's just tragic to see what happened. And I struggle to find the words. So if you don't want to see it, I'd advise just kind of stay off of social media for a good little while.
Yeah, I mean, with respect to him, to his family, he's got parents, he's married,
kids.
I don't believe does he have kids?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he had kids or not.
Yeah.
But that's awful to just keep sharing that and see that video out there. It's rough stuff.
Really is. So Tolos, just spread love today, love one another, and again, violence is never the answer. It's sad. It's a sad world we live in, and we're gonna stick to sports. But I did want to let you Tolos know out there that just be sensitive of this kind of stuff. It's just awful to see. However, Diesel, it is football season. The NFL is upon us, and there have been Super Bowl winners that have started the season 0-1. For example, the 2023 Kansas City Chiefs, who went 11-6, started the season 0-1. The 2020 Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who finished the season 11-5, won the Super Bowl in 2020. They started 0-1. Same thing in 14 with the Patriots, 11 with the Giants, 7 with the Giants. It doesn't happen a lot. However, it does happen. And when you go to 0-1 in the NFL season, and when you start 0-1, there becomes this gray area of, okay, is this team in trouble, or is this is a team who's lost one game and that's simply all it is? Now, statistics will tell you, history will tell you, going to 0-2 is a different story. When you start 0-2, your percentages fall all the way down to the 25-24% percentile just to make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a very, very steep uphill climb from there. Because obviously, if you start 0-2, you're probably not a very good football team.
Not at the time, you're not.
Right.
Not at the time. So it's tough to rebound from that. So what we want to do in this segment is look at the teams who are 0-1. Are these 0-1 teams A-okay? No reason to be upset, no reason to panic, no reason to fear. Or, are these 0-1 teams, maybe there is a little bit of reason. Thursday night, Packers-Commanders. We talked about this game yesterday. Both teams are in the clear. They're 1-0. They're both winning the Super Bowl, right? Jaguars-Bengals on Sunday, same situation. Both teams 1-0. We get to 1 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, Diesel. The Giants-Cowboys, both teams 0-1. Now you're talking about two teams that are, one of these teams is going to start 0-2, whether it's Dallas or New York. Dallas is favored by 5.5 points in this football game. Cowboys-Giants in your mind, I'll let you go first on this one. Both of these teams obviously need the win, but in your mind, which of them are at the point where they are really, really needing this win to not go 0-2?
Well, it's the Giants, number one, because I don't think they're a very good football team. I think the Cowboys, at least what we saw in week 1 against the Eagles, they're a competent, decent enough football team that they could go on and have a pretty good season. And, looking down their schedule, it's not easy, right? They still have a very, very tough schedule, and they need every single win they can get. And in that standpoint, they do need this win really badly, because after that, you got the Bears, who looked okay. You get the Packers, who look good. You got the Commanders, who look good. The Broncos look good. Eagles again, Chiefs, Lions, Vikings, Chargers, Commanders again. There's a lot of losable games on that schedule for the Cowboys, so they have to win every single time.
They have to win them. So I would say if the New York Giants start 0-2, they're in serious trouble. The Cowboys, look, you're going against a division opponent for the second week in a row. Not good, right? Not good at all. I think Dallas is probably in a little bit better of a situation if they start 0-2 compared to if New York starts 0-2. But again, neither one of them are in a great position. Bears-Lions at 1 o'clock Sunday, Diesel. The Bears are 0-1. The Lions are 0-1. Looked like on Sunday the Lions missed Ben Johnson a little bit. Bears obviously had that game won until J.J. McCarthy came back and had something to do with it. Bears-Lions, in your mind, one of these teams is going to be 0-2. That team that's 0-2 obviously will have a little bit of a hole to dig out of. Which one do you think will be in better shape if they are 0-2?
Man, that's a hard one, because they're both, I think, missing a little something. I like the Bears, now that Ben Johnson is their coach, just a little bit more than I like Detroit's ability to dig out of that hole, right? Because when the smart guy leaves the room, yeah, there's still a lot of talent in the room, but that smart guy is the leader. It's his job to put you in a position to be successful.
Sure.
I think the Lions are in trouble if they go down 0-2.
I think they are as well. I mean, look, this is a team that's just a couple of years removed from being in the Super Bowl conversation, and being in that conversation. So the Bears, this is a big game. Detroit, by the way, favored by 5.5 points in this football game. Tolos, you can get in on the conversation as well at 844-326-3663. That's 844-FANFONE. Let's look at the next game between a team or with a team that's 0-1. The Rams 1-0, Diesel, going against the Titans, who are 0-1. Cam Ward still trying to find his way in Tennessee. Doesn't it kind of feel like if the Titans start 0-2, the Titans are just kind of back to the same old Titans, even though they have Cam Ward?
It does. And again, looking at their schedule, they got a tough road, because they got the Rams, the Colts, and the Texans all in a row. And that could be a tough spot. I mean, obviously the Colts, they did what they did, 33-8 against the Dolphins this past weekend. I don't know if that's sustainable for the Colts, but with the information we have at hand, it's entirely possible that this Titans team starts 0-4.
Yeah. I mean, their schedule's tough. It could be a possibility. At 1 o'clock also on Sunday, the Patriots 0-1 versus the 0-1 Dolphins. Patriots first-year head coach, Diesel. In Miami, boy, did they just get run off of the field on Sunday by the Indianapolis Colts. Daniel Jones, I don't know what possessed Daniel Jones to play like he did, but goodness gracious, he played his butt off. The Colts just demoed the Miami Dolphins, and it seems as if the Dolphins, by the way, who are favored by 1.5 points,
wow,
which is crazy to me. It seems as if the Dolphins lose this game. Look, I know it's just 2 games in, but I'm going to go as far as Diesel is saying if the Dolphins lose this game, Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat. This nerdy guy who's always got an answer for everything is on the hot seat if they go 0-2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't put a lot of trust in him to be able to pull this team out of the depths. If they get off to a really slow start, I mean, Tua's still Tua. I don't know if they end up losing the locker room, because he doesn't seem like a guy. I don't know what it is. I don't know how he kind of holds sway in that locker room. But, I mean, this is the dude that most of these players would have flipped upside down and put his head in the toilet in high school.
Yeah.
And his job is to lead them. And you've got us at 0-2, and we're getting our teeth kicked in and week out. Man, I'm not going to follow you.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Look, I like Mike McDaniel. I like him. I thought I do, because I thought that this would be a guy that in the NFL would really be able to connect with the players and build a culture. However, man, I'm starting to kind of look back and say, well, I look like an idiot. I look like an idiot because this guy just hadn't done it, and they hadn't been able to get it done. So I don't know. I'm not completely giving up hope, but I am going to say if they start 0-2, we're having the conversation that Mike McDaniel, it's time to have the hot seat conversation with him. The 49ers, who are 1-0 on Sunday, play the 0-1 Saints.
Sure.
Diesel, this is a tough game, and this is why I love the NFL. Week 2, a massive game. Why is it massive? Kellen Moore in his first season in New Orleans, starting Spencer Rattler. He was deciding between Rattler and Tyler Shuck out of Louisville. And now all of a sudden, first-year head coach, first game starting is for in this new year for Spencer Rattler. If they go to 0-2 against a pretty good San Francisco team, all of a sudden, this organization that's been down in the dumps for a few years is, again, finding themselves behind the 8 ball, looking themselves in the mirror as, okay, is Kellen Moore the right guy? Okay, is Spencer Rattler the right guy? Again, I know it's just 2 games, but the good news is, Diesel, what we talked about yesterday in the Daily Wire segment. Right now, San Francisco's injury plagued. Kittle, Brock Purdy, maybe a chance for Spencer Rattler to shine, even though San Francisco still favored in the game by 4.5 points.
Here's the thing. I think given the division that they're in, it's not necessarily catastrophic to start 0-2 because you still got 2 games against the Panthers, and the Panthers looked awful, and the Saints certainly looked better than the Panthers did. You got 2 games against the Falcons, and you probably split those 2 ball games, right? I mean, Michael Penix looked really good in his debut, even though they lost that game. And then after that, you still got the Dolphins. You still got the Jets. You still got the Titans on the schedule. I think there's still probably minimum 8 winnable games, 9 winnable games on that schedule. And not saying they win them all, but you win 8. You haven't had a terrible season.
No, and the point you brought up with their division, I'm with you there. Maybe it's not hit the panic button time yet. However, However, going up against the San Francisco team without George Kittle and some depleted roster areas, you feel like, okay, we got to win this game.
You have to.
This is a must-win game. We're not going to get a shot at the 49ers like this in a long time. We got to win this game. So it's a big one. The Bills are playing the 0-1 Jets. If the Bills win the game, Jay's raising his hands. Bills fan, right? Big games on Sunday night. Jay from our sales. Jets 0-2, Diesel. I mean, what's normal? I mean, what's new, rather? The Jets always are 0-2, right? I mean, why are we having the conversation with the Jets here?
That's when you start losing the fan base. I don't know.
They have a fan base still?
So they say. I mean, I think they just let them.
Jets.
I think they just hire them all and they let them sleep in the stadium, and then come game day, they're just like, add them to the attendance. That's another 500 people who are here.
Yeah.
I mean, look, the fans are used to struggles with the Jets.
They are.
It'll be more of the same. Oh, ho hum. It is what it is.
It is what it is. The Jets are used to it. Let's look at this one.
Besides, their quarterback room is Justin Fields and Tyrod Taylor.
Ooh.
Does Tyrod Taylor give you any confidence that if Justin Fields stinks, they can go to him?
Not really.
Nope.
Not really. Browns-Ravens. Obviously, the Ravens played a really good team. Not a lot of concern there.
No.
We probably all know who's going to win this game Sunday. Here's an interesting one for you. 2 more, then we'll run off the break. The Chiefs. They play the Eagles.
Ooh.
Super Bowl rematch at 425. Any worry in your mind if the Chiefs start 0-2 in the 2025 football season?
The narratives would be real fun about
Get rid of
the
Mahomes.
0-2 Chiefs.
Get rid of them. Bench them.
The narrative will become it's time for a rebuild mode, right? I mean, these are the kind of seasons that if it were to get out of control for them, Andy Reid might say, you know what? I'm 95 years old. I might as well go ahead and hang it up. This is when Travis Kelce says, all right, I'm 75 years old. Might be time for me to go ahead and just hang it up, go on tour with my super famous wife. I mean, this could be that little snowball that starts as one little pebble and ends up a boulder.
Yeah, could be. You never know. Obviously, the Chiefs are still a good football team. And then last one, Diesel. The Carolina Panthers, 4:05 Sunday. They're at Arizona. Arizona's a 6.5-point favorite over the Carolina Panthers. You can get a ticket right now for $34 if you want one. Not good. But
Kyler not letting people in for a canned good.
They might be. Kyler Murray looked good last week. And the Arizona Cardinals looked good last week against the New Orleans Saints. Are the Panthers, I mean, you hit the panic button pretty hard after one loss. Are the Panthers done if they start 0-2 in your mind?
I don't know. I mean, they're so young You know, they say young kids are resilient and they bounce back really fast and they understand. Hopefully, Dave Canales is imparting upon them that this is a process, that we will go through growing pains. It will make us better as a team. You see the smoke that I'm blowing up everybody's skirts here. We're trying to make people feel good even though they're getting beat. I don't know. I mean, maybe Bryce Young just needs time, and, you know, Bryce Young just a little better than he was last week ends up winning a couple of games. I don't know that it's over, but I mean, couldn't you almost say that it was over before the season started because nobody had them as a playoff caliber team anyway?
Maybe so. But the bad part is, Diesel, there was so much hope. There was so much positive momentum that somehow, some way, people thought that maybe we can win this thing. Maybe we can start, with a couple of wins, and the Panthers are a team that can contend in the division. But again, kind of like Clemson, maybe the preseason hype didn't meet the mark there. So we'll see. But what we do know, as I was struggling to get the words out there, what we do know is a team that starts 0-2 significantly puts themselves behind the 8 ball.
Another thing we know is that Sports Talk on the Fan Upstate is presented by Paramount Plus. Sylvester Stallone is back in the original hit series Tulsa King. This season, Dwight faces his most dangerous adversaries yet, forcing him to fight for everything he's built and to protect his empire. Stream the new season of Tulsa King on Sunday, September 21st, exclusively on Paramount Plus.
It's the best. It's the best.
I'm gonna have to get into it.
Tulsa King. 2 seasons already, like you just said. Season 3 is coming out. And, that and Landman were up there for me a few months ago when I was watching them when they first came out. But Tulsa King, Sylvester's just so hard to beat, man. He's just such a good actor. Well, he's like 130.
He's a movie star.
He's so good.
He's a even in his old decrepit state, he's a movie star. And you got to love and respect a guy with that kind of chops. Yeah. When we come back, let's take our whip around the sports world, chop it up with our Daily Wires.
and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
So much going on out in the sports world, not least the fact that Melissa Level, marketing director at Ingles, is supposed to be joining us here in the very next segment of the show. If not, we'll have that float just a little bit.
That's
but
right.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News going to join us later on in the show as well, a phenomenal guest. And, of course, Ian Unsworth and the broadcast crew for the Hub City Spartanburgers, who won a playoff game last night, are on the road up to Bowling Green, Kentucky, I think.
Yeah. No,
They're going to the city of Bowling Green, which is not where Bowling Green State University is, because that's in Ohio.
yeah.
Am I wrong? I don't know. The MAC is so confusing. I just like their Tuesday night football games. Anyway, let's get to it. Our Daily Wires, the buzz happening around the sports world. The Atlanta Braves were defeated by the Chicago Cubs last night by a score of 6-1. So, yeah, barely competitive.
Shocker.
7:15 first pitch tonight for the Braves. Chris Sale will be on the mound.
And yes, you are correct.
Oh,
Bowling Green, Kentucky, high A affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays.
love it. The Hub City Spartanburgers, like we just said, won a playoff game against those Bowling Green Hot Rods last night. They are now on the road, and we'll face them in Game 2 tomorrow in a 3-game series. 7:35 first pitch. Kyle Schwarber hit his 50th home run of the season, and Ranger Suarez struck out a career-high 12 over 6 shutout innings to lead the Phillies to a 9-3 win over the New York Mets Tuesday night. The Phillies have won the first 2 games of a 4-game series and lead the National League East by 9 games over the Mets, thanks to the heroics of Schwarber and the first NL player to reach 50 home runs this season.
He is so good. I mean, it's just I know Braves fans have to deal with him because he's in the division. He's just having a sensational year. He's tearing the cover off the ball.
The New York Jets are cutting Xavier Gibson after his costly kick return fumble during Sunday night's loss to the Steelers. After the Steelers had cut the Jets' lead to 26-24 in the fourth quarter, Kenneth Gainwell forced Gibson to fumble the kickoff, the game's first turnover. Aaron Rodgers took advantage 2 plays later, throwing an 18-yard touchdown to Calvin Austin III to put the Steelers up 31-26 with 14:07 left to play. That's wild, getting cut for a bad play in the first game of the season.
Not good enough.
Nope.
We're not going to take it.
Philadelphia Eagles star Jalen Carter will not miss any future games for spitting on Dallas Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott. The NFL announced Tuesday that since Carter was ejected from last week's season opener without participating in a single play, the league would consider the second-year defensive tackle to have already served a 1-game suspension. What are we doing here, Cole? I mean, like, if we're going to punish somebody, punish somebody. Don't do this time-served nonsense.
Yeah, I'm just glad. Look, that he didn't get the game check. There has to be some kind of repercussions. There are obviously much worse things done, but come on, man, this is crazy.
Some more news for the Cowboys. They have been meeting with free agent edge rusher Jadeveon Clowney to address the gap left by Micah Parsons' departure to Green Bay. Are you excited about putting JD on the team?
You know, look, what does Jadeveon still have left in the tank? I think that's the question, right?
Yeah.
If Jadeveon, if we can get him at a good price and he doesn't really affect the cap, I mean, I'm for it. But let's see, does he pass a physical? I mean, we'll see. I hope there's something left in the tank.
The 49ers have 4 games in the next 23 days, but they are going to be without George Kittle, who is on IR with a hamstring injury. Ohio State coach Ryan Day said Tuesday that he's not a fan of the proposal that would bring major changes to the transfer portal windows in college football later this year. The NCAA announced last week that the FBS Oversight Committee voted to move the window for transfer portal in winter from December to January, shifting to a 10-day period that would start on January 2nd.
By the way, I just saw a report from 48 minutes ago that Clowney is still in the building in Dallas, so he's been there a long time today at the Star, so maybe that's a good sign.
In case you missed it, one of the biggest surprises in the first month of the college football season, Colorado is pivoting to Ryan Staub as the starting quarterback at Houston on Friday night. Staub began the season as Colorado's 3rd stringer and is now jumping Caden Salter, the transfer from Liberty, and Julian Lewis. Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King, who missed a game while recovering from a lower body injury, is trending in the right direction ahead of Saturday's matchup against number 12 Clemson. That comes from Coach Brent Key. Haynes King, a sixth-year senior, was injured in the Yellow Jackets season opening victory against Colorado, but he sat out last week against FCS Gardner-Webb. Tyreek Hill's estranged wife has alleged in court filings that he committed domestic violence, which the Miami Dolphins receiver has vehemently denied. According to documents obtained by TMZ, Keita Vaccaro alleges 8 separate incidents of domestic violence and filings related to the couple's divorce case. That's awful.
It is.
And finally, Cole here, Mike Tyson revealed on a podcast that he used fentanyl as a painkiller during his boxing career, but avoided taking it too much because he was afraid of getting addicted and having it being detected in his system.
Okay.
He also discussed the stigma around cannabis use in sports and emphasized its harmless nature.
Does that surprise you?
No. Mike Tyson did drugs? Are you serious?
Mike Tyson, man. Who's surprised? Who's surprised?
That's not marker on his face.
That's right. Tolos, well, so many of you have already tried unsuccessfully to get your upset pick in today, like 10, maybe a dozen now text messages.
Yeah.
They don't count.
We're going to have to start cracking down on this.
Yeah, they don't count, Tolos. So if you've sent in your upset pick, you know, we say it all the time. It starts at 4 o'clock, and that is not for another 6 minutes. Melissa Level might join us. She might not. We'll see. But the upset pick challenge begins next.
Wire to wire
with Diesel and Cole Bryson.
on the Fan Upstate.
Well, it is finally 4 o'clock, and that means one thing. The Upset Picks Challenge is open for all of you Tolos out there who have gotten them in early. You lost 20 points. We're kidding. That's not true. However, it's not 4 o'clock until the clock says 4 o'clock. It's finally 4 o'clock, and 3, 2, 1, go. The Upset Picks Challenge is finally open. 844-326-3663. For all of you Tolos out there who have gotten it in early today, it doesn't count. You got to send it in now. It's open until the end of the show. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. We're live right now at Ingalls Markets, 8650 Asheville Highway in Boiling Springs. The one, the only Melissa Level joining us. Melissa, how are you? You came in right in the nick of time. And the segment's over just like that.
I'm surprised you didn't come in with a flaming spear.
Yeah, where's your spear? Where's your spear? There's no possible way we can talk Florida State football for 20 straight minutes, right?
No, I could, but I mean,
Are you sure?
I have the spirit embroidered in my underwear.
I love it. I love it. How high are you right now in Florida State?
Oh, well, you know what? It's funny you say that because I should be this totally ecstatic. I am so waiting for the ball to drop.
Oh, no.
You
They've
know,
hurt you too many
that
times.
happens
I know.
in
I'm just
New
so
Year's.
waiting. I just,
January 1st, it'll drop.
yeah, I know. Well, up in North Carolina, they drop a possum instead, but that's okay.
Melissa, how hard did you laugh when South Florida upset the
Oh,
Gators? How great was that?
that
huh?
was wonderful. That was
Yeah.
really good. I have a lot of people all over the country that are Florida fans. That I bet gets me. They're like, oh, it was so good to see. I went to USF for my master's, so I'm
Really?
also alumni of
Oh,
USF.
how
how
about
about
it?
That
that?
was
You
really
win
good.
twice.
I won twice, yeah, but that was really unexpected. They play at Raymond James Stadium too, which is
Yeah.
kind of cool. It's just I would think it's cool for a college team, but they're building a new stadium now. I
Good
believe, so.
on-campus stadiums are the best.
Yeah, I
can't-
think
you
they
can't-
have to be. Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, you have but so many other things going on there. You can have graduation there and all that stuff, and it's just like it's part of the whole environment. If you have to get up and drive someplace, you don't have the same student fan experience. I don't think that you would have on an on-campus stadium.
Sure.
I'm with you on that. I'm with
Mhm.
you on that. Speaking of experience, I mean, like, here's what I want to know from you being a Florida State fan. I know we have a few Florida State Tolos out there in the audience.
Yay!
few,
I
a
love all
few.
of you. Thank you. Very
Let me
much.
ask you this: all
$20
seriousness.
off your next
That's
Ingalls
right.
That's right. Melissa, a couple of years ago with Jordan Travis, Florida State reached an all-time high. We know how good they were that year, right? We know that in the past, Florida State's had really good teams throughout the course, going all the way back to the Bobby Bowden days, right?
Oh yeah. Jimbo Fisher.
Do
yeah.
you feel anywhere remotely close as a Florida State fan after this start as you did, let's say, a couple of years ago when they were undefeated, or even before that with Jimbo Fisher and all the great success that Florida State had? Where would you measure your fan high right now compared to fan highs of the past?
I think 2023, when we beat LSU.
Okay.
And then we went undefeated in the season. I feel that's possible.
Okay, so
Okay.
you're that high?
I'm that, but I'm also on the other hand is going like it's like there's like the devil and an angel on each shoulder, and the devil's going, no way, no way. Castellano's gonna go down with a leg fracture.
Isn't it amazing though how fast?
Disney's gonna make it so you can't ever make the playoffs.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy though how fast like the opinions on coaches can change?
Mhm.
A couple weeks ago, you were like that close to
Oh
pulling
yeah,
the plug on
I
Mike
said he had
Norvell.
5 games. That's it.
Is all forgiven, or are you still?
He still has 5 games.
Oh
my gosh.
she's still
Okay.
being tough.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's got 3 more to go.
Okay.
Okay, I mean, I see great progress. I have some great new coaches on the O-line and on offensive and defensive coaches. Some good names coming back, and but he still has. Listen, he has something to prove.
But put it through this lens: Sam Pittman has struggled at Arkansas the past couple seasons.
Mhm.
This year, he seems to have a really good quarterback. They're sitting at 2-0, and who knows where this Arkansas
Right.
team. Does that mean like are we going to have to readjust kind of what is a fireable level of performance, or do you think it's still just going to be as breakneck as ever?
I think it's gonna be breakneck as ever, but I will tell you, it's all a matter of the dollars, I think, too, and the commitment and the recruiting and how they're able to manage those NIL funds. So I think that's a lot of schools that you wouldn't imagine have some incredible alumni putting money into these things that might
Yeah.
be doing something. See, before this year, you couldn't have that; had to be separate from the university. Now that university budget can handle those NIL funds, and I think you're going to see some places that you wouldn't think. But Arkansas's got a big, historically huge fan base,
Right.
and influential base like a Clemson.
Yeah.
Look no
Right.
farther than Oklahoma State.
That's
And
right.
Mike Gundy was building in those excuses that hey, Oregon's got way more money than
Right.
we do, and then obviously
Exactly.
they got blown out.
That's right. That's right. So, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it. I just think that Mike Norvell gave up the ghost for us last year. I think it was his responsibility to pull us out of that disaster.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that he went into a hibernation, didn't put his heart and soul into it, and we had a disastrous season because of it.
Let me ask you this question from a college
Starts
football.
from the top.
It does.
Believing
It
you win.
does. From a college football fan perspective, I want to see if you feel the same way I do when it comes to like historical programs with historical success and that great tradition, like Florida State's, like Bama's, the USC's, the Texas of the world that have this great tradition,
Right.
They've been good, and then have put together dynasties. It does feel like in this new modern era that the dynasties are no more.
Yeah, I agree.
In terms, that pains me as a fan. I know the first thing everybody does as a fan
I
is
love the parody in it.
Well,
I think
see,
it's nice to have that, don't you?
I
Yeah,
agree with you, but here's the thing about it. I agree with you on the parody. I like the parody. However, we all, like people my age, grew up in the era of college football where you had these dynasties, the Southern Cals, the Alabamas, right? And they were kind of a fabric, a DNA of college football in a way. I think I will miss them at some point.
You know what? The reason I say I really like the being able to say we don't have that dynasty making all the time now is because at any given Saturday, you have a chance.
You do have a chance.
Okay. And as a fan, you have a chance to feel that high. Right.
Sure.
That $50,000 fine from storming the field, worth every penny. Okay. Worth every penny. All I was saying, though, having been on the field as a cheerleader, please don't injure other players. Please don't run over players. Please don't break a leg. Please don't do anything. But I mean, I thought it was terrific that the father of the young man that was shot, got to break the rock at the end of the game, which I thought was really terrific. I think that Norvell needed this win just as much as everybody else did. And I think he's fired up now too. But the reason I say he's 5 pounds, can he keep it up?
Yeah. So let's turn this around here. Make you look at things from the enemy's perspective here, from a team that you played and you beat in week number 1. Do you think Alabama fans are being too tough on Kalen DeBoer? Because we know he can coach.
Right.
He was excellent at Washington. He was excellent at everywhere he'd been before that. Maybe it's that adjustment period, learning the SEC.
Right.
I know Alabama fans came after him pretty hard for losing to lowly Florida State. But,
and I hate to think that somebody would lose their job for losing to Florida State, right? Sure. You know what I mean? That's how far we've dropped in the opinion of the football fan base, right? But I have to tell you, no, I don't think that we should. I don't think we should be hard on him right now yet. He is that, and I'll tell you, they're fast. They were good. It was. They gave up. They gave up. I would say probably about third quarter.
So you
want to expect us.
I want to make sure I heard you're right on that.
Right.
You just said that you don't think we should be hard on DeBoer yet?
I don't think you should be that hard on him yet. Okay,
really?
I think you should hold his feet to the fire. He needs to win. But look, Florida State beat, North Texas, A&T, okay, and Alabama. We've got big fish to fry.
Sure.
Right? Okay. And so that's why I'm not going to sit here and say, it's going to be a great season and we're going to have the same. I love the feeling we're in right now. Love it.
I want to read you this stat. Since 2007, in games where Alabama was favored by at least 14 points.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So 14 points.
We were.
Favored.
That was it, actually.
Right.
Wasn't it 14? Yeah.
So since 07, in games where Bama was favored by 14 or more, Nick Saban was 131-2.
Oh, yeah.
Meaning when he was a big favorite, he very rarely won.
Mm-hmm.
Kalen DeBoer's start in games where Alabama was favored by 14 points, he's 4-4. So he's 500. That's just not good.
So he's living on the name of the dynasty. See, once again, okay, he's living on the
this
living
is what
on
he
the
is.
past,
Have
right?
you seen this? He's the Kalen DeBoer is the new Cracker Barrel logo. Nick Saban's the old one.
And I have to tell you, I thought Saban handled that with so much respect too on game day. I thought that was really good. But I'm not, I'm just not there with. I want them to win every single game. I want Florida State to win every single game, and I want them to win it by. The 74 points was the largest point difference in the Florida State history. 80 points is the largest point win, right? Ever.
Yeah.
We didn't get that, but 77 was close to it. I'm sitting there on the TV. Why'd you let him score? Why'd you let him score? Why'd you let him do that?
Melissa, I made you sort of play the part of soothing the enemy fan base. Now I'm going to put you in another tight spot, okay? I'm going to make you pick from amongst your babies, okay?
Right. Okay.
What is the single best Ingles store in its portfolio? And you can't say this one.
Okay.
You can't say the one we're in right now, which is 8650 Asheville Highway.
Of all of them, or just in
All of
South
them.
Carolina?
Okay, locally here.
Upstate.
Upstate, yeah.
Okay. Our brand new, soon to be remodeled opening store in Boiling Springs.
Oh, it's
200.
it looks fantastic.
It'll look great.
Still in
Yeah.
progress?
No,
It's,
Or is it done?
It's almost done. The floors are beautiful, aren't they?
the
Have
floors
you
are
been
beautiful.
to the burrito bar?
I've ate it like 4 times. Hey, in fact, Saturday morning scramble this Saturday
I know.
is at that
I know, I
that
can't wait to
location.
go there. I know. 'Cause-
It's
Wow.
unbelievable.
Now,
yeah.
are there plans to do that to other stores? Because Cole
Yes.
keeps talking about
Yeah.
it and gushing on it.
Yes.
Can you reveal
All
any
of them that are in the upstate area are
Yeah.
going to be remodeled. This
Okay.
one was our first, and it's a prototype for our remodel. Okay,
Yeah.
it's even bigger and better than our store that number 73, which is over in near Pickens. But I
That's
mean,
right. She doesn't think by address,
Yeah,
she
is that-
thinks
you
by
know,
store number.
I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, but I mean, this one is just incredible. Everything is state of the art. You have beautiful things. You have meals to go. You have the hot bar. You have the burrito bar. Wonderful things coming. Great environment. Beautiful casing on everything. Just absolutely all sorts of. So much easier with everything being one side. I don't know how you feel about that, Cole, but everything on one side when you shop is
So
great.
amazing.
You know, all this room, bigger expanded cafe, bigger expanded.
And let me tell you
Starbucks.
this: yesterday
nice.
at lunch, I ate the burrito, the bowl,
yeah.
and there were so many people eating lunch in there. It felt like I was in a restaurant.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
getting to be that. See, when we have that same format up in North Carolina,
Yeah.
that's exactly the same. We have
It was
a big
packed.
lunch crowd, and I hope to bring back. We stopped it for a while during COVID, but I hope to bring back the steak night. I don't know if you remember that. It was Friday night was steak night.
No
between
way.
6 and 8, 2 could eat for $22,
Oh my
and
god!
we ate it real silverware and everything. And always was really nice.
Serve
Steak
it at the.
inside.
Where do they serve it at?
They serve it. They grill it and fix it. Cook to
Oh
order
my
right in our
gosh.
cafe.
Oh,
That's
man.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
so
love it.
I hope we're doing that. Send in emails, letters.
Do you need me
Bring back
to
steak night.
cook the steaks? I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll
I
do it.
bet you we're good
When
at
football season's over, I'll do it. I'm
it.
here.
Well, see,
2 hours, I can do it. I can do it.
Yeah, and it's really great. We put out, we have real table, we have music, like
Yeah.
Like guitar player or something
Wow.
like
Yeah, that's
that.
awesome.
And people come, you can get it to go, but most people like to kind of gather. It's like a little Friday night
Yeah.
gathering place. So
I love it.
hopefully we'll bring that back. It was something that I think now this store can support.
That's unbelievable.
Mhm.
Melissa,
That's awesome.
can we get your thoughts on Arch Manning, the Arch Manning experiment, as some people might call it?
Ooh.
I mean, it kind of feels like it has echoes of the DJ
I
Uyunglele
know.
situation, where
Mhm.
he was hyped as the next coming of
Yeah.
whoever.
Yeah.
He was going to win so many national championships. He was going to go off and be Super Bowl champion, and then just
Living off the
so far-
dynasty again, right?
Right,
Okay,
right.
living off let me see. I think, first of all, he's injury prone.
Yep.
Okay.
they
so that-
say he's not injured. Steve Sarkisian, I don't know if you heard this.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, where are you getting your information? Who said he's hurt? I don't record the sounds you make in the bathroom and make assertions off of that."
you can tell.
Yeah, he's hurt.
Okay.
He's wincing as he
Right.
throws.
Yeah. And so, but the other thing is too, is I don't really think his heart's in it.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
I think he was destined by family to do what this is. And this
Okay.
may not be what he wants to do.
Here's that audio, by the way. Have you heard this?
No.
This is the audio that Diesel was referencing
Okay.
from Steve Sarkisian.
Oh, yeah.
This was yesterday. 1 second. You've got to deal with the 19 mute button.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go.
I'm gonna start it over.
Oh, for God's sake. What does that compare
What
to?
does that have to do with anything?
But you're welcome to. I do have to make some unusual
that
noises.
weird?
I mean,
That is so weird.
but I don't usually tend to wince.
I mean, if we can live stream and make some money off of it, why not?
Ah,
But I think, do you think that maybe he's been destined for this his whole life, never really given the chance, and maybe feeling a little bit of the pressure of not being able to live it up?
It's kind of like football's the family business, but his heart's not really in it.
His heart may be in it, but he may feel like he can't really compete. Right? I
Bold
don't
take.
know.
I
mean,
don't hate it. I'll tell you this: what I noticed. I noticed maybe that he just doesn't have that like
Fire.
dog. that fire.
That fire.
You know
That's
what I mean?
exactly what you don't have.
All
He's
the
a
talent, none of the
wonderful-
grit.
Right. He's a wonderful young man. I've spoken to him several times. He's a great guy. His family's terrific. He's had the best of the best in training,
Sure.
the best of the best in marketing.
Yeah.
He can benefit from that, having the ability to do it. He's been put in the absolute best position he could be in to make it happen. I just don't know if he believes in his heart that he can do it.
It's a good point. I mean, it's a good point. We'll see, right?
I
Still
mean,
a lot of
when you live in people's shadows all your life, it's very hard to
Sure.
get out of them.
Sure.
Right.
No
You
doubt.
know? And sometimes you just have to go a different way.
No doubt. I'm with you.
It's like riding somebody's coattails. Maybe
Right.
those coattails have wheels on them. That's what's helped him. get
That's
to this
oh
point.
yeah. Oh, you can't even doubt that was one of the reasons where he is and why he is where he is. But on the other hand, he probably has a lot of ability, and he's probably had some very good personal training and everything else. I just want him to believe it. If he's going to do it, he needs to go in all in. He has to have that fire. Peyton Manning had fire.
No, I'm with
But-
you. I'm with you. It does.
Even
it
Eli
does
didn't
matter.
have that same fire.
Right. It does matter.
And Arch Manning certainly
And
has.
Well, Eli
situation-
always looked like he was about to cry.
I know.
And, you know, situation matters so much, too.
Right.
Like, Texas is great, but situation matters. And maybe here's a crazy one. Maybe he's not in the right situation.
Right. I think he's in the best place he could be for recognition.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
He'll make a
but-
lot of money even
Yeah,
if he
That's
doesn't
right.
win a lot
Right.
of
But I
games.
don't think it's the best place for winning.
It's a good point.
Right.
Maybe
you
he
gotta
should
have a
be
whole
a
team around you to
Maybe
do
he
that too,
should have
right?
went to
Florida State.
Tallahassee.
No, I love who we have. I love who I have.
Tommy
I
Castellanos.
think he is awesome.
So you take him over Arch?
Yes, and I think
Whoa!
did you see what he
Whoa.
did to the fans when the Alabama fans were shooting the bird at us and everything? And he went to our fans and slapped his chest and got him to do this chant and got him to go over. He was perfectly in class. He never said anything rude to the
Oh,
others.
my
He
God.
just brought our fans up to the level. Guy's got a lot of class. I thought he reeled in his mouth too much, but now I'm
He
thinking
backed
Back
it up.
he
yeah.
backed up.
he
I
did.
think he understands it, and he put his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Melissa, it's time.
It's
We
time.
need
Here we
your
go.
week number 3 upset pick. Have you had a chance to
I
decide
haven't.
on one?
I haven't, but I think Florida,
Okay.
if Florida's playing, I think they'll lose. That's going to be my tip.
Florida is the underdog right at LSU.
So that's not
Um,
an upset special then.
Correct. We'll give you some time.
Yeah, it's okay. You're,
Okay,
you're
let
gonna
me
be
try.
hanging out. You can
Yeah,
pick it
let me
behind
do
the
that. Yeah, I'll
scenes.
do
That's
it
right.
too.
And we'll send it out over the air.
Yep. I just want to say Florida will lose.
Yeah.
Florida's at LSU, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be a big deal.
That's a
Yeah, you're
tough.
not going to pick
Yeah.
them to upset LSU.
Yeah, no. Oh God, no.
You sure? Wait a minute.
That's
You
all
sure
right.
about that?
No, I'm positive.
I can't even get you to consider taking Florida.
I'm positive.
No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
Well, the upset picks are rolling in fast
That's
and
right.
furious. We got you. Let's see, Kane, Bibleman, John Corley, JB, all the way through Boomer Bill. We got you. We're going to keep taking them throughout
Let's
the show.
go.
And Melissa, of
Thank
course, it's
you.
always a blast to
I
have
love
you
being
on.
the
on
best.
with you guys. Hi, Tolos.
Yeah.
Go
Let's
Knowles.
That's right. We appreciate you
When
as
we
always.
come back, let's talk to the broadcast and media relations manager of the playoff game winning Hub City Spartanburgers, Ian Unsworth, going to join us next on the Fan Upstate.
and phone. This is Wire to Wire with Cole, Bryson, and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
So I know Tolo's at 4 o'clock on Wednesdays. You're used to us going full bore head first into the Upset Picks Challenge. But, of course, it's live radio. You got to roll with the punches and availability of our great guest that we just had on in the last segment, Melissa Level. So we're going to get to that as we get deeper and deeper into the show. But keep sending in your Upset Picks for week number 3. Cole and I will get to ours. Tolo Phil, he's taking Delaware plus 9.5 over Connecticut. We've got a bunch of other texts that are coming in as well.
Let's
we
go.
will get to those.
I'm going to have mine around 5, I
along.
think.
Okay.
5 o'clock.
Okay, I like it.
I have no confidence right now in mine, but we'll see.
But speaking of confidence, these two gentlemen who are joining us on the show, their teams ought to have a lot of confidence as they just picked up their first playoff win in franchise affiliate history. Ian Unsworth, broadcast and media relations manager of the Hub City Spartanburgers, and Andrew Sellover. Andrew, help us out. I want to make sure that we're spelling that or pronouncing that correctly. But welcome to the show, guys.
Let's go. We nailed it. Let's go.
Nailed it.
We're good at this.
Guys, I know you guys are on the road, headed up towards Bowling Green, Kentucky. Whereabouts are you?
In the middle of nowhere. We actually just stopped at the world's largest Buc-ee's in Cedarville, Tennessee.
Yeah.
I thought
So we
every
came away with
Buc-ee's
some
was the
beef
world's largest
jerky, some
Buc-ee's.
ice. Oh, this thing is like a shrine to consumerism, fellas. It is unreal.
I love it. This is awesome. We're talking to Ian Unsworth and Andrew Sellover of the Hub City Spartanburgers right here on the Fan Upstate after the big win last night. Playoff baseball not only back, the Spartanburgers getting it done last night at Fifth Third Park. What stood out to both of you? You can answer this first, Ian, and then go to Andrew. But what stood out to you and why last night's win was not only so significant, but what the Spartanburgers can continue to build on?
I think first and foremost, the pitching was excellent. Chad Comer has touted his pitching staff all year as a group that's kept his team in games and won plenty of games for an offense that at times this year has floundered. It hasn't been a full, consistent 130 games of production throughout the regular season for the offense. But the arms last night were fantastic. Dylan McClain started it off super sharp, retired the first 70 innings, and only gave up 3 hits, 1 run. And all things considered, when it's your first playoff game in a new stadium, you will take 4 innings of 1-run ball every day of the week. The cool thing about the minor league playoffs is since you're only playing 3-game series, you can kick some starters back to the bullpen, and those guys come out with elevated levels of stuff. And Aiden Curry did just that. He pitched 3 innings, scoreless, strikeouts all over the place, 5 of them in total, and his fastball was peaking at 95, 96, 92 to 94 range. And then last but not least, out of the bullpen, you got Victor Simeone, who had 2 strikeouts and a big scoreless 8th. He's trended to a board. Adrian Rodriguez punched the side to finish out the ball game in the 9th, and the crowd was rocking when those strikeouts came.
It's when you talk about offense in the postseason, right? You've got to come up in a couple big spots and get the big swings. And it wasn't top draft picks or anything like that did it last night for Hub City. It's new additions to the team, underdogs on this roster, 1 through 9. They contributed. A 20-year-old from Mexico, Antonis Macias, batting in the leadoff spot for the first time all season with the sacrifice fly to give them a 2-1 lead in the 5th. And then Maxton Martin, another 20-year-old on this team who got promoted in the last couple of months. He comes up with an RBI to give you insurance with 2 outs in the 8th inning. So instead of a 2-1 lead, it's a 3-1 lead and a little more comfortable for that pitching staff to get the final 3 outs.
Talking to Ian Unsworth and Andrew Sellover of the Hub City Spartanburgers. Help me out, guys, because I genuinely don't know the answer to the question. Obviously, with the nature of minor league baseball, the team is a vehicle to send players up and to send players down. It's not the majors where lineups are fairly stable and teams truly are playing in the here and now. What does the team, what does the franchise, what does the affiliate actually get for making the playoffs and making a run? Like, what's in it for the team other than the joy of winning postseason ball?
Well, overall, you always want to see your affiliate succeed from a top-down perspective, as Rangers Director of Player Development Josh Bonifay will be with the team throughout the entire playoff race. So that's a big positive for these players that are performing well on the big stages. And high A baseball isn't the major league level, but I think even all the way down to high school, middle school, little league baseball, when you step up in a big moment, there are certain guys that have the ice in their veins, and there are certain guys that don't necessarily. So the Rangers staffers and someone who's got a lot of influence on promotions and the like are going to see what the Hub City Spartanburgers roster has in these clutch moments firsthand. And from a Rangers perspective, a 30,000-foot view, I think it's a big positive for the org to see that for a team in a brand new place, a lot of these guys had never heard of Spartanburg, South Carolina before the season started. And now they have made it home. They have drawn a fan base of 5,000 plus out to the stadium multiple times this year. And these fans have fallen in love with the guys. So the Rangers know that they picked a great spot for the affiliate. And now, since the team is succeeding and in the postseason, the Rangers know that what they're doing organizationally from a development standpoint in spring training, from putting together a coaching staff that really keeps this group cohesive throughout the year, even with new additions after promotions. What the Rangers are doing from an organizational sense is really working in high A, even though the location, the franchise is brand new.
And we get to talk to the players, obviously, during batting practice throughout the week. Talking to them in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season when they're going head-to-head against Greenville, just 45 minutes down the road for that playoff spot, right? Instead of their own personal success, they're talking about, we want to make the playoffs. We want to give this city that's embraced us a chance to see postseason baseball. And the game's managed like that down the stretch, too. Dylan Dreiling, who was a second-round pick last year, he started the last 22 games of the regular season. So they're definitely playing to win these baseball games as opposed to maybe middle of the year where it's a lot more about development.
Ian, what part of the Rangers organization watches and monitors these, especially in particular with the Hub City Spartanburgers? You talked about the spring training and then obviously the in-season performances. And, we all know that somebody is in charge of seeing the evaluation of these players and prospects when it comes to bringing them up and bringing them down. But when you talk about like seeing how your clubs are doing at the lower levels when it comes to success and postseason success, is that something that the Texas Rangers organization really evaluates and really values when it comes to this run that the Burgers could make in the postseason?
I would think so. You look at the Rangers team that won the World Series back in 2023. They had some young studs on that team that they called up in the middle of the year, a Wyatt Langford, a Evan Carter. Those guys made immediate impacts right when they popped on the scene. And so bringing up young talent is not something the Rangers will shy away from if it gets them closer to the postseason. To answer the question on who's watching, it's a lot of the higher-ups in the minor league side of the organization, like a farm director, a director of minor league ops, Stosh Hoover, who will also be with the team in Bowling Green. Those two are kind of the king and the prince of the system, if you want to call it that. And then throughout the season, the Spartanburgers have had multiple Rangers coordinators on the hitting side, on the pitching side, on the athletic training side, on the strength and conditioning side, mental performance coaches, data analytics and research and development. All of those people filter through Spartanburg throughout the season. Even Rangers general manager Ross Fenstermaker has come to Spartanburg and seen how Hub City operates and seen what the fan base enjoys and seen the facilities, which as you guys know are top class. But all of those people come through and get a peek at Fifth Third Park and also get to see guys play in person. And so now that we're in the postseason and these performances really matter to make some history, the top-notch guys want to be here to see the Spartanburgers do it.
Guys, we get to bring on Chad Comer, the manager, and Tyson Jeffers, the GM of the Spartanburgers. And I'm sure all of you would probably have a different answer to this question. But at what point did the special nature of what this season is and what this affiliate franchise is to be in a new stadium in a city that's got some history with baseball but hasn't had it for a little while, and to have the success. Like, at what point did you have to pinch yourself and say, oh my God, this is real?
I think after the regular season ended, right? Like, you went into Sunday in the regular season finale not knowing if the Spartanburgers would be in the postseason, right? They went into the final day of a 132-game season trying to make the playoffs, and then in a 4-hour span, go from these guys playing in a game with a lot more pressure than most of them have ever played in to these guys celebrating with champagne and all of that for a lot of these guys the first time, right? Clinching a spot to play postseason baseball. And so to get to see that celebration kind of culminate this whole first year, I think is one moment you point to. I would also say Ian and I were having this conversation, I don't know, 2 hours ago in this 6-hour road trip that we've got going about, how sustainable is it? You saw opening week, like you knew the fans were going to turn out for that, right? But then over the course of season, as the newness factor wears off, right, how will this city embrace minor league baseball being back? Look at the attendance, look at the fan base, and look at the results, right? It felt like every Friday, Saturday night, it's 4,000 to 5,000 fans, and they're packing the place. And so as you saw the stability of that continue, I think, over the course of the season, that's what I would point to.
My favorite moment of the season was a couple Sundays back, the last game against Greenville, when the Spartanburgers got down early, came back and won 9-8. And the Greenville Spartanburg drive against Burgers rivalry all year has delivered. I mean, they've been some of the closest games of the season. There's been some wild moments, like a 7-run comeback for the Spartanburgers, only to lose in extra innings, walk-off homers, all of that stuff when the teams are 45 minutes away. And there are two fan bases in one ballpark, which you don't see a whole lot in minor league baseball. Usually the travel's far enough, the fan bases don't spread widely enough to where you go to a ballpark, it's the home team's fans and maybe some people that are just interested in getting a bobblehead here and there. But that is not the case when the Drive and the Spartanburgers match up. It feels like you really have a regional rivalry, and I think that's something that's going to carry on even from fathers to sons and through families.
Ian, I want to ask this question because I'm sure there's somebody in the audience right now, whether it be Spartanburg, Greenville, or Anderson, that's curious as to how these playoffs work for somebody that just got in the car and that are just hearing this interview with you and Andrew. Talk us through the format. Like, if somebody just got in the car, they're hearing the Burgers won a playoff game, what does the next few games look like? What happens if they continue to win? Is there any chance they could be back at Fifth Third Park? And what is the ultimate goal for somebody that may not have any idea how postseason baseball works at this level?
All right, the Spartanburgers are ring chasing, folks. I think that's pretty clear at this point. They already won game 1 against Bowling Green, and these series are not best of 7s. They're not best of 5s. You're playing wild card series here. These are best of 3. And so the South Atlantic League is split into 2 divisions. You got the North and the South. The South Division, comprised of 6 teams, is now set up to where Bowling Green, hosting Hub City, has to win the next 2 games to keep the Spartanburgers from advancing on to the championship.
Wow.
If Hub City wins either Thursday or Friday, they will play either Brooklyn or Greensboro. Yes, I know the Greensboro Grasshoppers in North Carolina are somehow in the North Division. That you can make sense of that how you will. The other teams up there are in Maryland, they're in New Jersey, they're in Delaware, and they're in New York. I don't know. They don't pay me to make those divisions. So the winner of the North Division's 3-game series, Brooklyn won game 1 over Greensboro, then hosts the winner of the South Division for game 1. So say the Spartanburgers, we don't really have any wood in Andrew's car here to knock on, but say the Spartanburgers take the divisional series, win the South Division, you play game 1 on the road, that's on Sunday. You travel Monday, and then games 2 and 3 would be at Fifth Third Park Tuesday and Wednesday.
Wow.
How about that?
So real quick.
Yeah.
To be clear, tell everybody one more time who we're pulling for in order for that to happen in terms of getting more playoff baseball at Fifth Third Park.
So it doesn't really matter. As long as the Spartanburgers take care of business, win one game in Bowling Green, there is a chance to clinch a South Atlantic League championship in the team's very first season right at home in downtown Spartan.
Yep, as long as they win either Thursday or Friday, a guaranteed game at Fifth Third Park next Tuesday.
Let's go. Let's go. That's awesome.
Guys, you forgot to also make sense of how teams from Brooklyn and Maryland and those areas are in the South Atlantic League North. It's fun. Guys,
we've got a little conflicting reports there, right?
Guys, we appreciate your time as always, and be safe driving up there. Of course, we'll be rooting for you, and hopefully the Burgers lock it up tomorrow, and we won't have to worry about this anymore.
Thanks, guys.
Of course, fellas, we'd love to have you out next week.
Absolutely, man. Fantastic stuff. A lot of excitement in Spartanburg, and man, that's going to be a lot of fun if they can somehow, some way get one more game to their point at home. Appreciate them hopping on. Well, that was fun. Two of them at the same time, man. A little double trouble there.
You know, it was like a 2v2. You know, I wonder, Cole, if Major League Baseball could look at what's happening here in Greenville, Spartanburg, two cities that are just closely tied together, but 40 miles apart, and say, you know what, maybe that is a recipe that we could duplicate in other places. I know that the situation we have here is unique, right? And normally you have one big city with a couple of small cities and small towns that circle around it, whereas in the upstate we got two good-sized cities that can support two different teams. So I wonder if they would look at that and say, you know what, in the instances where it might fit, it might be right, this is a recipe for building a really, really strong fan base in two close-by areas. That'd be a lot of fun.
It really would. This Brent Key audio, by the way, if you hadn't heard, Clemson fans, this was strange yesterday. Brent Key was not his normal self. Brent Key was very short. Brent Key was full Bill Belichick New England Patriots mode yesterday. Again, they're getting ready for the biggest game of the season against Clemson, and Brent Key was short and sweet yesterday with the media. We'll have that audio for you next. going to get to this audio from Brent Key. We may have to push it back to the next segment because it is something, that's for sure. But first, let's go to the phone lines, 844-326-3663. Dylan in Fountain Inn. What's up, Dylan?
Oh, it's Delvin. I'm sorry
Delvin.
about that. Delvin.
No, you're good, man. You're good. What's up, Delvin?
Yeah. My upset pick. I'm going with. I don't want to see a coach get fired, but if this happens, you're gonna end up getting fired. I'm going with Old Dominion plus 7.5 over Virginia Tech.
All right. We talked about that one yesterday.
Yeah.
Old Dominion. Could you see them going 0-3 to start the season, though, Delvin?
The way they did you see the way they played, man?
Yeah. And I'm with you, man. They hadn't been good, especially in that second half.
But you don't think there's a little of that in-state, we don't want to lose to little brother who's also here in the state of Virginia?
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, but then you got a little brother say, hey, we want to beat y'all like we did a couple years ago.
Sure,
and
it's true.
May cost Brent Price's job.
Thanks, Delvin.
Good
Appreciate
call, Delvin.
you, man.
Appreciate it.
Good stuff. All right, this audio from Brent Key. You listen and you react. He was not talkative. So that is what Brent Key had to say, Diesel, and is the Brent Key you and I both know and have talked to and have heard. A little bit different of a mantra, a little bit different of an attitude. Is that focus? Is that what is that?
I don't know. It sounds like an interview we had in the last 24 hours or so. It's hard to pull information out of Brent Key. Look, I think maybe he's just so laser focused and his mind is not on being in a meeting room, fielding questions from the media. He's probably like, this is asinine. I'd rather be in my office talking to my coaches, game planning, figuring out how to beat Clemson. This is the only thing that he is singularly focused on right now. And you are annoying me by making me take time away from that.
I don't know, man. It seems as if Georgia Tech might be ultra focused. It seems as if Georgia Tech might be a team that can really take that focus. And look, I know the biggest storyline is quarterback Haynes King, that injury and not playing last week. And obviously his status, Brent Key just said, you heard in that audio, that they're going to evaluate him all week long and see where he's at. We all know that if Clemson, or if Georgia Tech, somehow, some way wants to take down Clemson, Haynes King's got to be healthy and he's got to be available. If he's not, obviously this game's a different story. So that's number one. But number two, if he's a go, if he's a healthy option, close to 100%, you just feel like that this Brent Key that we've come to know is going to have his team focused and not going to be too high or too low. I think Saturday's game is huge, man.
Yeah, and with all due respect to the redshirt freshman quarterback that is backing up Haynes King, this is the best situation Brent Key is going to have at Georgia Tech, maybe for the next couple of years. I mean, you've got a sixth-year guy who's been around your program for a long time. He knows it in and out. It seems as if your roster is as stacked as it can be at Georgia Tech. This is your chance. This is your opportunity to get it. And, everybody knows that famous Eminem lyric, this is your chance. Don't miss it. Which I just butchered that lyric, by the way. but it's hard to think when there's people making announcements over your head. But this is their chance to get it, and he is singularly focused on that.
No doubt. Should be fun. We'll
Yep.
see.
And Tolos, here it is, your opportunity. We're now going to take the time in the next segment, really blast it out for the next 15 minutes, getting your upset picks for week number 3 in. Cole and I are going to give ours. Have you even decided on yours yet? Okay.
No, not yet.
Well, you got 7 minutes, and Tolos, keep them coming. 844-326-3663. We'll get to your upset picks next.
Upstate.
You know, normally by this time, Cole, we'd have 30 or 40 upset picks in already. And I understand that we had to do things a little bit differently to start off the 4 o'clock hour with Melissa Level. Normally she would be on here in the 5 o'clock segment, but you know, you have to shift, change, roll with the punches a little bit. So Tolos, it is your opportunity to do the same thing. And right now, call in, text in 844-326-3663. Get us your week 3 upset picks. Who you got? Who's going to be pulling that upset this week? Are you starting to feel a little bit desperate? Are you going for the 15, 20, 25 pointers? Or are you just sticking to your strategy? And, well, Cole, I don't know if you have a strategy.
No.
Much of one.
No.
Off to a slow start, but that's okay. I'm not that far ahead of you. I'm sitting there at 1 point, which I don't know. If you can't hit a pick, might as well be an ocean, right?
That's right.
So, Tolos, get your picks in. Let's see. Delvin got Old Dominion plus 7.5 over Virginia Tech. Keith in TR is taking Texas A&M plus 6.5 over Notre Dame. Let's see. JT and Greer is taking that same one. JC is taking Colorado plus 4.5 over Houston. Mays and Brew is taking Robbie Ashford and Wake Forest. I don't know about that one. Over NC State on the road plus 7.5. Let's go, Tolos. Let's see. Mac the Knife. There you are. He's taking Wisconsin. Wow. Mac the Knife is taking Wisconsin over Alabama for 20.5 points.
It's a big one.
Bold.
That's a big one. Speaking of big and bold, let's start off with a banger right here in this segment as we're getting upset picks in. Continue to do so. Tolos at 844-326-3663. But Leprechaun of Lyman, I cannot wait to hear how this goes. Leprechaun, you're on the air.
Hello to you boys. As usual, first we'll do me upset pick, then we'll talk some smack. Give me New Mexico over UCLA plus 15.5. And now, I have a heartfelt poem to give to the boys coming to town. Dear Texas A&M, me name's the Leprechaun of Lyman, and me boys are the Fighting Irish. Welcome to South Bend, Indiana, the place I dearly cherish. I hate to tell you, and you know it's true, Notre Dame's the better team. But it's cute for you to come and play. When you're done, go get some ice cream. You kids are just outmatched. And like we did last year in College Station, we'll pound the gigum out of you and send you back in trepidation. Oh, and since Tom in Somerville doesn't know definitions of words, trepidation means a feeling of fear or agitation about something that happened. So, we welcome you with open arms, but we'll crush you with those arms the same. And you'll leave wondering why you even bothered playing that grand old Notre Dame.
Wow. Schooling Tom in Somerville on vocabulary words. Tom in Somerville, are you going to take that?
About it. We did have to spend some time yesterday with Tom, right? Talking through what word was it? Riveting.
Yeah.
We had to explain what riveting meant, and you know what, Tom, we'll take time with you anytime. I like the shots fired there by Leprechaun of Lyman, though, going after Tom in Somerville. I am so unsure on this upset picks. I am. Do you already have yours, Diesel, or no?
I do. I'm pretty sure I have mine.
Oh, you don't sound real confident.
Well, I have 1 point. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's give you a few more seconds to think about it. Let's go to Billy in Moore. Billy, what's up? Billy, can you hear us?
Yes.
This is
Dewey. Dewey. Okay, it's Dewey.
Dewey.
Where's Dewey, not Billy?
Our producer told us Billy. We're sorry.
This Dewey starts with a D. D is in dog. D-O-G. Oh, that makes me angry. Anyways, after hearing Leprechaun of Lyman,
blame the producer.
I had another upset pick, but Leprechaun of Lyman, he had to throw insults at Tom in Somerville, and Tom is my friend, and you don't make fun of Tom. So I'm going to have to go after Leprechaun of Lyman.
Wow.
First of all, leprechauns are not real, and there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
How do you know? Do you only believe in things that you can see with your own eyes?
Yes.
Okay.
And the Tooth Fairy.
What do you think about mitochondria?
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. We'll have Leprechaun of Lyman call back in and define it for you. Who's your upset pick, Dewey?
Anyway, I had a good one, but I think Leprechaun of Lyman made me change my. I'm going with Texas A&M over Notre Dame.
Wow.
I wasn't even thinking about Notre Dame until he came on and
Plus
reminded me
6.5.
how much I hate Notre Dame. And I don't really like Texas A&M either, but I think Texas A&M will take care of Notre Dame because Notre Dame's overrated.
Okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we appreciate the call, Dewey, and sorry we got your name wrong. Okay?
Yeah, Dewey.
It won't happen again.
Dewey and Billy. Maybe Billy is his middle name. Thanks, Dewey.
Dewey, Billy, and more.
That's right. By the way,
sounds like a law firm.
I do have to give you, let's see, Grayson Mann sent me his diesel.
Okay.
He is taking South Florida. I've got to pull up who they're playing.
Miami.
Whoa. Is that a big one based on your response?
Yeah. It's not little.
USF,
It's not
Miami,
little.
Saturday at 4:30.
Yeah.
What the spread would be? Do you have it?
Let's see.
Oh, man.
Florida.
Is Grayson going for the home run here?
He is going for. I got to find it here.
Oh, I'm doing the same.
17 and a half.
I like it.
17 and a half. Could you imagine?
Oh, man.
And I'm shocked. We've got a couple of Tolos who are on heaters right now, and a lot of people have hit on South Florida, but they're not so far calling and texting back in and rolling with South Florida again.
Yeah, that's a big swinger.
I mean, do we really think that
do we?
South Florida is that much better than Florida? Excuse me, not South Florida. Miami is that much better than the Florida Gators?
It's a good question. But can they do it again? Can they do it again?
I mean, they barely did it. They needed a Florida lineman spitting in the face of another South Florida player.
Yeah.
To get there. But I mean, hey, things happen in a game. So bold take there from Grayson Mann.
It is big, man.
He's trying to get on the board.
He's trying. Well, I don't know. I'd go for a little less if I'm trying to get on the board there. I've got mine narrowed down. I mean, man, this week seems difficult. I don't know why.
A lot of big spreads this week, too.
There's a lot of big spreads, man, and there's some teams that could make some noise, but picking the right one, right? That's the difficult feat. So I've got mine narrowed down. I'll let you go first, though.
Okay. I'm going with a game that'll be played at 3:30 Eastern.
Okay.
Being played at DATQ Stadium in Denton, Texas.
Yeah.
You know who plays in Denton, Texas?
North Texas.
North Texas. Yep. I've got Washington State coming to town and beating the Mean Green of North Texas plus 5.5.
Wow.
Washington State, they struggled with Idaho in week 1, but they did not struggle with San Diego State in week 2. They went from scoring 13 to 36.
Wow.
Almost tripled their offensive output from week 1 to week 2. So I'm going with the Fighting Cougars of Washington State. Old Crimson going to get it done.
So I've got 3. Can I give you a 3? No.
How about this? Well, if you get one right, you get a third of the points.
No. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you Tolos out there as well, the 3 that I've got it narrowed down to, and then I'm going to pick. But these are the 3 that I'm interested in. New Mexico State at La Tech. That's a Conference USA matchup, right?
Yep.
New Mexico State is a 10.5 point underdog.
Okay.
That's a big spread. The second one I'm looking at, 7:30, East Carolina at Coastal. East Carolina is favored by 7.5.
Okay.
I'm looking at taking the Chanticleers.
Do you know what a Chanticleer is?
Yes, it's a gamecock, right?
It's a teal bird, I guess.
Plus
teal
7.5 is that spread in terms of if you were to take Coastal Carolina. Yep. ECU's a 7.5 point dog. And then the last one that I'm interested in, and I think the most confident, Diesel, of the 3,
okay.
However, the spread's the smallest. Vanderbilt plus 5.5 over South Carolina.
Okay.
So my thought process here is this. I like all 3 of them. You have to pick one. I like Vandy the most. But what is 5.5 points going to do for me?
It's going to get you on the board. It's going to keep you on the board for 5 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to keep me on the board for 5 weeks. I do like the 7.5 a little better, though, with Coastal Carolina. And then I really, really like New Mexico State getting plus 10.5 because 10.5 would be a big jolt. And I can't take all three. So I'm not going to choose the small spread, Diesel. I'm not going to choose the big spread.
All right.
I'm going to land in the middle, and I'm taking the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers at home, plus 7.5 to take down the Pirates of East Carolina. Give me the Conway Gamecocks. Give me Coastal Carolina on Saturday night to get Cole Bryson 7.5 points on the board, finally in the Upset Picks Challenge.
Did you hear what Coastal Carolina did for their home game this past weekend? They set up a challenge because they had 19 athletic competitions on campus across its various teams that are in season right now. And any student that attended all 19 of those events would have their name go into a hat to be drawn out to lead the team out onto the field, out of the tunnel. And somebody did it, and he got his chance to lead the team out onto the field. I mean, this sounds like something that Tyson Jeffers would put together, right?
Mm-hmm.
A genius at marketing and coming up with fun ideas. You put together something like this. I think every G5 program, and really every program in the country, you need somebody who spent some time coming up with promotions for minor league baseball in your athletic facility, because those are the guys that are going to bring the fun, man.
Coastal Carolina, man. Give them. By the way, are they still doing the free concessions? Remember that video we played?
That's right.
Remember back in the summertime, early summer, late spring, they had that big announcement with the free concessions this fall?
They did.
Maybe I go to Coastal Carolina and partake and see the free concessions. See it.
Well,
see
what
it
time?
firsthand.
South Carolina's a night game, correct?
Yeah, can't do it.
Coastal is the
Night.
afternoon game.
No,
right?
7:30.
It's a night game too.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, I know.
Do double up.
Both Gamecocks are at home, right? And the Teal Gamecocks are my. I don't know, man. I like that Vandy pick a lot.
Could you call them the Conway Cocks? Is that too far?
No, I like that.
How about that?
Yeah. I just, man, there's something about that Vandy South Carolina game. Like, I know South Carolina gets some points for being at home. It's a night game. That atmosphere is going to be incredible. But, man, I'll tell you this. Right now, my confidence meter, Diesel, is low, is really, really low just because of what I saw last weekend. So we'll see there. Do we have a lot of Gamecock picks, Vandy?
Not a ton. I think
surprised by that.
And by the way, RJ is already throwing cold water on your pick. RJ says, I wouldn't bank on Coastal to do well against ECU this weekend. The Chants only scored 13 against FCS foe Charleston Southern.
Well, guess what? That was our tune-up. That was the tune-up. We're getting look. We're sandbagging. We don't want to show everything. Okay, we got ECU coming to town the next week. FCS, yeah. Who cares? Throw a rock at them, right? We're going to take that. I'm saying we now because I'm a Chanticleer this weekend. I need that to happen. And thanks, RJ, for really making me feel confident in my pick. We'll see.
I think so far only one Tolo has taken Vanderbilt over South Carolina. That would be Eric from Boiling Springs.
Only one?
Only one.
I would have lost so much money. I mean, if you would have told me only one Tolo would take that game, with it being an in-state game and Clemson fans pulling for Vandy, I would have. That surprises me.
See, I'm glad that I don't know who it was, which Tolo it was yesterday, who got in and said his strategy is taking the G5 games.
Oh, yeah.
That had been my strategy for a long time. Number one, I'm a fan of a G5 team, and I feel like I know the conference just a little bit better and know some of those G5 teams a little bit better. But now we're in the transfer portal era, and I don't know anything about those teams. So I backed off of that strategy, which a couple of years ago was working well for me. Now, I mean, I don't even know anybody on my own team's roster, let alone everybody else's rosters. So I need to get back to that. Maybe as the season progresses, I start feeling good about those CUSA and MAC and Sunbelt teams again. But Tolos, keep them coming. We are taking your submissions for your upset picks here in week number 3. We've got Tiger Pal Rachel. He is going with UCole, or she is going with UCole, going with Coastal over ECU at 7.5.
Let's go.
Let's see. Tolo Yardbird is taking Florida plus 7.5 over LSU. Now, that's a bold one. Do you think Florida feels insulted the way that they have been talked about this past week and may use that as motivation to go on the road to LSU? Or is Tolo Yardbird just not that sold on LSU's offense?
It could be a little bit of both.
I mean, they didn't look good against Louisiana Tech last week.
No, and it could be a little bit of both. I mean, I don't hate that game. Like the reality of it is, Billy Napier's back in the same spot he was in a season ago at this right time, right? Where he's in prove-it mode. And all of a sudden, they ended the year on a positive note last year, and Billy Napier was safe. And then, boy, it doesn't take 2 weeks in the college football season for that tide to turn, for that ship to sail away, right? Because just like that, the heat's back on them.
How down bad the state of Florida was. I mean, Norvell was on the hot seat at Florida State. Napier's on the hot seat at Florida. And until, the Notre Dame game, people might have been saying Manny Diaz was a little bit on that same spot as well. But I know last year was good for him, but prior to that. So the state of Florida, though, has come back with a vengeance. Keep them coming, Tolos. I see a couple of these that have come through. Bossman is in. Let's see. Eric in Spartanburg got his in. He's taking Georgia Tech over Clemson. Now, the spread on that game, Cole, let me see if it's moved a little bit, because he's saying 6.5. I hate to tell you there, Tolo, but it's not 6.5. It's 3.5. So Eric in Spartanburg, you locked in now, but it's not worth 6.5 points. It's worth 3.5.
How about
if Georgia Tech pulls that upset?
And look, it's a good game to pick, other than the fact that it's only 3.5 points, right? That's kind of the problem with it. Could we see it? And it's very similar, Diesel, with that game in South Carolina Vandy at the same time. And by the way, let's see. Who was a minute ago that said, Cole, shut your mouth about Carolina before you jinx us. LOL. Look, I get it. I don't want to jinx you, but I think it's similar situations with South Carolina and Clemson and Georgia Tech this weekend. Tight spreads, right? Both could almost coin flip kind of games at this moment. We might not have realized that that's what the conversation we were gonna have, but that's where we are. Eric in Spartanburg, again, 3.5, not 6.5. Keith and TR says, Mr. Spot the Ball, I'll blow the call. Billy Napier ain't beating LSU. Wow. You don't think so?
How about it?
Well, that's why it's called upset. That's why it's called an upset picks challenge. Yeah. A lot of fun, though. Let's continue the college football conversation. Bill Bender, the Sporting News, joins us on the other side, as he does every Wednesday at 5:22 p.m. If you have a question, it might get asked. It might not. But if you have a college football question for Bill Bender, shoot it in at 864-84. Let me try that again. 844-326-3663. Get your question for Bill Bender in on the Hub City Spartanburgers text line.
Bryson and Diesel on the Fan Upstate.
Keeping the college football conversation going right here on the Fan Upstate. So glad to be with you on this Hump Day edition of Wire to Wire. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson on this Wednesday. We're live at Ingalls Markets, 8650 Asheville Highway in Spartanburg. It's the Springfield location. Hope to see you before the end of the show as we have some Panther giveaways for you Tolos out there. But we bring in Bill Bender of the Sporting News. You hear him right here on the show every Wednesday at this very time. And Bill, I want to start with a question that I asked our guest earlier in the show, Melissa Level. She's the marketing director here at Ingalls Markets. We broadcast from a local Ingalls. It's a supermarket every other Wednesday on the show. And she's a big Florida State fan. I want to gauge your thoughts on where the Florida State fan base is after a really good start. We know what they did against Alabama. They've had really high highs over the past 2 decades with the Bobby Bowdens, the Jimbo Fishers, and then even a few years ago. Bill, in your mind, where do you think Florida State fans' high ranks right now in terms of their recent success?
I mean, they're status quo now. This is what they're expected to be after 2 weeks, winning 2 games, being in the mix as an ACC championship contender. Thomas Castellanos has played really well. You know, the game against Alabama was winning, and so was, quite frankly, how many points they scored last week. So this is a team built to contend again under Mike Norvell. I guess we look at last year, and they were desperate to put last year in the rearview mirror. It was an anomaly, right? I don't think anybody expected them to go 2-10 again. Now we'll see if they can get through the Miamis, Clemsons, the teams in the ACC that are trying to win that ACC title.
Bill, Haley Sawyer, the Southern Cal AP voter, might be replacing Philly's Karen as the most hated person in sports right now, which I'm sure whoever this Philly's Karen is, she's happy to have the news cycle and move on. But Haley wouldn't go into her process for how she evaluates the entirety of college football leading up to the AP poll release every Sunday. But can you go into yours? How do you gather as much information as you possibly can without recreating the eyes propped open torture scene from A Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, well, a couple things. Philly's Karen, I saw a pretty good meme today of her taking the golden ticket away from Charlie Bucket. I laughed at that one. It was excellent. I'm not perfect either. I've had moments where, I guess one that I'll give you an example. Over the weekend, you watch a game like Mississippi State beat Arizona State, and then you try to mess with your rankings to make sure that Mississippi State is ahead of Arizona State, even though you're not quite sure that's going to hold up over the next 3 weeks. But I get that end of it. But, when you do a top 25, you have a loss like Florida has. And I concern myself with my ballot. Everybody can do what they want to do with theirs. We dropped Florida out. I think one of the flagrant things when you're a Power 4 school, it's like South Carolina and Clemson. You can't lose to an FCS school in state. You can't lose to a G5 school in state. I'm trying to think who the schools are in that. Is there any why am I blanking? Is there a group of 5 school in South Carolina?
Coastal.
That's it. You can't lose to Coastal. So, you know what I mean? Because the repercussions would be very serious if they did.
So, Bill, in your mind, not to just absolutely bag on AP voters here or Haley in particular, but I mean the audio that she doubled down. You've heard the audio, I assume, right?
Yes.
She doubled down. She could have got out of this mess by saying, "Look, I made a mistake. I know Florida lost. I made a mistake, and it's an honest mistake." But instead, she doubled down on it. Do you think there needs to be a better vetting process or an editor that makes sure things like this don't happen, or do you think that maybe she has a point here?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's her ballot unless they take it away. But
right.
Even if you disagree with it, I know I vote on the Super 16 for the FWA every week. And I remember one week, to give you another example, I voted, it was in Ohio State and Alabama, something like that. I voted one team under the other. And you don't think much of it. You're like, hey, this is my decision. And they were close. But I heard about it in an email from a
a colleague like an hour later, and I'm like, wait, people actually look at this thing? Like, my ballot? Why do you care what I'm voting for? And I fired back. We had some fun with it. But it is a reminder that everybody looks at it. It is a responsibility. Whether I'm doing that or, rankings for Sporting News or an All-American team or the Heisman ballot that we'll do later in the year, I consider all of those things not a privilege, but a responsibility. You have to do your best, and not everybody's going to agree with your decisions, but you have to put the work in, no doubt.
Bill, before the season, we were hearing from sweet Dabo Swinney in the media. Now we're hearing mostly from salty Dabo Swinney, and he's upset at the narratives and people saying preseason that his team was going to be amazing and that all their units were top 5, so great. Is it our fault? And I'm talking about you, I'm talking about me, I'm talking about Cole and the media. Is it our fault that we gas this team up so much and then ultimately disappoint fans that don't get the product that we all preview at the beginning of the season?
It's Cole's fault. It's just plain Cole. Not my fault or yours.
I love it.
I'm just going to throw Cole right under the bus. Look, here's my deal on preseason polls. I love how they don't mean anything until it's their fault. The preseason polls, it's not their fault that Clemson lost the opener, and it's not their fault that, they struggled in the first half against Troy. I disagree completely with that, and I'm a proponent of the polls. I love them. I think the AP preseason poll is great. I would throw this one on you. I'll see if you believe it. If we didn't have numbers next to the names on Saturday, I think fewer people would watch. I think I'll put it to you this way. Fewer, like Clemson and South Carolina fans, if there's not a number 13 next to Michigan or Illinois, you're not watching that game.
It's true.
Good point.
Yeah.
Less people would. I'm not saying everybody, because some of us are junkies and will watch anything. Like I'll watch a JV football game that I'll take my son to watch his friends play JV football, and I love watching it because it's football. But not everybody's like that.
See, Bill, I think we should switch to the smiley face system because we don't know a lot about, the 1 through 10 teams. We'll just put a smiley face, a neutral face, or a frowny face next to these teams so that people don't get their feelings hurt.
Well, everybody will put a frowny face next to their team too, though, because nobody's ever happy with their team, no matter. I mean, I live in Columbus, and they get edgy sometimes when they win. Like last week, they beat Grambling 70-0, but inevitably somebody would probably find a way to complain about the left tackle or something. That's endless. So, but I believe in the polls. I think they're fun. I think it's a great story that South Florida's been able to do what they've done. I'll say that. I don't know that we care much. If we don't have rankings, it's not a big deal that South Florida won the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
Because we wouldn't know what Florida is ranked. We wouldn't know what Boise is ranked. And so I have this argument with my editor all the time. I'm kind of prepared for it. Because I just think that's what makes college football special, having that number 1 next to your name and doing the work to get it next to your name.
Bill Bender, The Sporting News, joining us right here on the Fan Upstate. Bill, when you look at that Clemson-Georgia Tech matchup this Saturday in Atlanta, Georgia, just a 3.5-point spread, I believe, last time we looked, a close prognostication, if you will, or a tight one to say the least when it comes to Haynes King. Obviously, his health is a big part of it, but I'm just curious, if you heard Brent Key's audio yesterday in his presser, he reminded me of Bill Belichick in New England, very short, to the point, and it seems like this Georgia Tech football team's ultra focused on the Tigers.
They are, but when a line moves down that much, I almost go the other way. And I'm like, there might be some value in Clemson now, because that line was originally what it was. And Clemson could easily just go out there and play like they're supposed to play and win the football game. Now, Haynes King's a really tough player. Georgia Tech's still a really tough program with Brent Key. I like a lot about them. I like Kyle Efford. I like Jamal Haynes. They are going to run the ball. You're going to have to be tough and stop the run. But that said, again, it's funny. The 2 games that have that line movement that I'm starting to be like, I kind of like value in the favorite. That one and then Georgia, Tennessee. You know, a lot of people are down on Georgia this week and thinking Tennessee's actually going to beat them at home, but you know, Kirby's probably reminding his players that nobody believes that they can go into Tennessee and win. He does that from time to time, much like Dabo. So, I kind of like the road favorite in both of them, even though I know how dangerous that is.
Bill, from one Bill to another, how hard is Bill Belichick shooting himself in the foot with the narrative over the past week that he's not allowing Patriot scouts into their facility? If I'm not welcome in their facility, they're not welcome in ours. I mean, are you hearing anything, any rumblings back channel from recruits who may say things like, well, if my coach is that petty and he's not going to put me in front of all 32 NFL teams, why would I bother going there? This is a guy who was brought in specifically to help modernize and NFLize their process there in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, I think I'm petty sometimes too. I can't say I've never been like that, especially with my friend. It's funny. I'm probably the most petty with my best friends, like right. About sports stuff, meaningless stuff when I really think about it. But this isn't a good mood, and the part that I keep circling back to is North Carolina's most prominent NFL player right now is the New England Patriots quarterback. Drake May. I don't know how long that's going to last, regardless of your feelings of Drake May. He's a starter in the league. And so why would you disrupt that? You should have a good relationship with NFL scouts and the Patriots and those kind of things. And as a professional. Now, how Bill feels privately about the Patriots, that's fine. Feel however you want to feel. But I think you have to maintain a professional relationship, especially when you're dealing with guys that are trying to play in the league. Like those kids on his roster, they don't have a problem with the New England Patriots. The New England Patriots, they want to play for an NFL team, and that's, however many roster spots that are available, chances for them to get on a roster.
It's a good point. Really good point. Bill Bender, The Sporting News, joining us on the Fan Upstate. Bill, South Carolina on the flip side, we touched on them, but when you look at Vandy, man, how much stock do you put in what they did in the second half against Virginia Tech? Obviously, a common opponent there. Odd to have a common opponent this early in the season. Also odd for Virginia Tech to be starting off against two SEC teams. What do you make of Saturday's matchup?
Dangerous spot. Vandy's good. Pavia, Sellers, going to be a fun quarterback matchup. I think it'll be back and forth. State in the game for both teams. Like, I think Vandy, you can make the case they should be ranked. The way that they played in the second half and limited Virginia Tech and didn't allow anything. It's wild. Like, if you look at our Sporting News 1 to 136 this week, which we do every week, all 16 SEC teams are in the top 50. And I don't feel like you were talking about making your ballot. I make a ballot with 136 teams, and I feel zero bad about it because I think that conference has that much depth. So there's no nights off. And I think – who knew? I've said this all week in kind of tongue-in-cheek fashion. Who knew that Diego Pavia, Lenore Sellers was the quarterback matchup we didn't know we needed in week 3? It's going to be fantastic.
Bill, I don't know about you, but do you believe that Steve Sarkisian has ever recorded someone in the bathroom? What a weird way.
That was bizarre.
Yeah,
it was bizarre. I didn't even know. Like, that's not, okay. Like, there's instances where you misspeak. Like, as you guys know, I'm Ohio Bobcat, and our coach. Big win against West Virginia, by the way, but Coach Smith said something to the effect of Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith are receivers. He either meant players or he just forgot Carnell Tate's name. That's just misspeaking. What Sarkisian said was flat out bizarre. Like, I've played it a couple times. It's like, that's weird. I don't do that or condone that, or certainly wouldn't want somebody videoing me. So, it's definitely an interesting one.
So, do you buy into it? Is Arch injured in your mind?
The videos, a couple of them his throwing motion looks weird in general right now. It doesn't. That's the thing that strikes me. I mean, I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but it does look different from last year.
Sure.
And whether he's hurt or changed some mechanics, it just. And I saw people making comment, not me, but you read tweets and analysts breaking it down that they're making comments about his throwing motion. And these are people that know more about quarterback play than I do. So there's a little bit of smoke there. But, if Arch is out there, I would assume if he was hurt in any way that they wouldn't throw him out there against UTEP or Sam Houston the next 2 weeks, because those games, whoever plays quarterback, they're going to win.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News at BillBender92 is where you can find him on Twitter. Bill, it's your chance now to get us your upset pick for the week. Can you tell us who you're going with and what other games you might have looked at as possibilities?
Iowa should have won last week. I mean, did a passing attack, guys. Let's go. I'm going to take another kind of like pseudo one this week. It's light, but I think Cal's Minnesota. I like Cal's quarterback. I think they can win. I think it's 2 or 2.5. It's not. I got to get on the board though. I'm going to get on the board, then we can get more risky. You mentioned Virginia Tech, so you played South Carolina and Vandy. Now you're playing like Old Dominion, and Old Dominion. That could happen. Like when you play 2 Power 4 schools and you're 0-2, and that that's a kind of a Super Bowl feel for Old Dominion. That could be a pretty good game there.
So let's do this before we let you go, Bill. Tell us your thoughts on mine and Diesel's upset pick. I had Coastal Carolina as a 7.5-point dog upsetting East Carolina Saturday night in Conway. Diesel, what was yours?
I had, let's see, I had to find on the list here, Washington State plus 5.5 on the road at North Texas.
You love it or hate it, Bill?
I like that. I looked at that one, and I thought about that one, but I don't know if the Cougs got it. Both of those are good picks. And I've been kicking myself this whole interview for not knowing that Coastal. And because my wife and I, Kimberly and I, have really good friends that live in Conway. So, I'm expecting that text by the time I get off the phone.
By the way, Bill, have you heard about the 2 excellent promotions that Coastal has had going on this season? Number 1, free food for the entire season. That's a great one. Okay. Number 2, they had a deal where if students went to every single athletic event over the last week, which was 19 total events, they would have the chance to lead the team out onto the field, and they gave a random student the chance to do. That's great. It's like minor league ball.
I love it. It's a good place, good program. It reminds me, like I said, my Ohio Bobcats going into Ohio Stadium, the shoe. 33-point dogs this weekend, but excited to watch the Bobcats play at Ohio State. It'll be fun.
I'll throw one more at you, too, real quick, Bill. Diesel just mentioned minor league ball. I don't know if you know this. Spartanburg, South Carolina, where we're based out of, one of our counties, we're in Greenville. We cover Greenville, parts of Anderson, and Spartanburg up in the upstate. First year for the Spartanburg, for Hub City, their nickname, having their first minor league team. I'm going to tell you what their team name is, and I want Bill Bender, you live in Columbus, your instant reaction. And on a scale of 1 to 10, minor league mascots are pretty, usually pretty fun. Hub City Spartanburgers. Love it or hate it?
I don't hate it. It's not bad. We got the Clippers here. I remember Spartanburg. When I lived in Charlotte, the Panthers train there, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. Where they train, and Wofford, and I've been in that. I've watched a high school all-star game there, so I remember the town. That's really cool. We have the Clippers here in Columbus. Up the road, it's a all-star minor league name is in Akron, where they have Goodyear and all the tires. They have the Akron Rubber Ducks up there. It's amazing.
Oh, that's good. I like that.
Great. And last one, real quick for you. How confident are you that Tim Albin can turn around Charlotte? Because he was great at Ohio. Charlotte, a little bit of a tougher test, bringing up a program that hasn't had a ton of success.
I just tell it to you this way. He led Ohio to their first MAC championship since 1968. So it'll take a minute. Obviously, it takes time when you come into a program. And Charlotte's still a relatively new program, obviously. I remember when they came in on the ground running with Coach Lambert. So give him time, there's going to be bumps. There'll probably be a lot of bumps in this season, but he is a really good football coach and an even better person. And whenever you hear that about a person, generally that means they're pretty good. So I think he'll do all right.
Bill, as always, we appreciate you, man.
Oh, no problem. Have a good one. I'll see you guys next week.
You too, Bill
Thanks, Bill.
Bender, the Sporting News. I love the Rubber Ducks. I
Love it.
like that.
That's good.
It gets a good minor league names.
That's
man.
good. You got to bring in that local flair. You got to make it fun. You got
That's
to
right.
have a cool logo that people will want to buy. And I mean, a part of it is there's a whole culture around buying up fun minor league baseball team gear from all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we've asked Tyson Jeffers about this in the past, where he's seen Spartanburgers gear being shipped off to.
Yeah.
And he's like, we're shipping to every state.
I love that.
Everybody's in on this Spartanburgers thing. When we come back, Cole, I mentioned her briefly in one of those questions there to Bill, something wild that's happening, a development in the case with Philly's Karen. We'll get into that next.
Clear.
Philly sports takes at the door. Call in if you're man enough.
844 fan phone. This is Wire to Wire with Diesel and Cole Bryson on the Fan Upstate.
Mike is hot.
So as questions about Philly's Karen identity continue to swirl, Cole, we might finally get an answer, and it's coming from the most awkward place that I think it could. Blowout Cards is a card dealer, a major trading card retailer. They've offered Philly's Karen $5,000 in exchange for the baseball that she stole from a little boy. But here's the kicker. She has to sign it and inscribe, "I'm sorry" on the ball, and has to give it to the kid.
How much?
5 G's.
Shame on number one. We all know shame on Philly's Karen,
Of
but
course.
shame on these idiots. Shame on these idiots
Oh,
for
come on.
willing to give $5,000 to a moronic lady who stole a baseball from a child.
Also,
Are we kidding?
she would have to come out, unveil herself to the public, like, "I'm Philly's Karen." According to the website, the offer is official and the price is firm. If the offer is accepted, Blowout Cards will give the ball back to the boy, who has been identified as 10-year-old Lincoln Feltwell,
Okay, I like
along
that.
with his father, Andrew.
Okay, I'm for it now. Now, here's what we should do. What's the name of the company?
Blowout Cards.
Interesting name.
Yep.
Write a bad check. Write a bad check. I never would condone that. Never would condone writing a
Really?
bad check. In this instance, Diesel.
Yeah.
A
I
little
mean,
bit
the father and son have been everywhere. They've been
Yeah.
on Good Morning America. They've been on local TV stations all over the Philadelphia area. I think this would be a good way to maybe show that you're not a complete heartless 4-letter word. And
Sure.
I think it should happen.
But I think she is a complete harlot, right?
Also, to add a little kicker to this, Lincoln, the little boy, was celebrating his upcoming 10th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
So she took a baseball from a birthday boy.
That's rough.
Now, obviously, we know that the Marlins made it up to him because they were playing. The Phillies made it up to him as well. They gave him an autographed baseball and a bat from the outfielder, I think, that maybe hit the home run. So, the kid's going to be fine.
Yeah.
I just love that. The weight of the internet has not been able to identify this woman yet.
So it's interesting. We'll see. I think she should. I think she should. Gamecock fans, Shane Beamer's spoken several times this week, yesterday in his weekly news conference, today in his SEC teleconference. We did it yesterday with Dabo Sweeney at 6. We'll do it next with Shane Beamer. What was said? We'll dive into what the HBC said next.
going wire to wire
with Diesel and Cole Bryson
on the Fan Upstate.
Well, yesterday on the show, we brought you what Dabo Sweeney said this week leading up to the game against the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech. And if you missed it, you can go back and find it on thefanupstate.com. So good to be with you, Tolos, on this Wednesday. He's Diesel. I'm Cole Bryson. We're live for another hour at your local Ingles. That is, if you live or work near 8650 Asheville Highway in Boiling Springs, we're here till 7 o'clock. And, man, already getting hungry. Already trying to decide what I'm going to have from the Ingles Deli, Diesels. A lot of tough choices over there tonight.
Yeah, I mean, from where we're sitting, there's a big sign that says rotisserie because they make rotisserie chickens here.
Yeah.
There's a sign that says sushi. There's pizza. There's fried
You know
chicken.
what they have under the pizza sign today?
What's that?
Chocolate
Pizza?
chip pizza.
What?
I just walked by.
Is that not a cookie cut into a triangle?
I don't know.
Either
No,
way,
no.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, pizza. I don't know. You know, I love chocolate chip cookies.
Marinara sauce under it? If there's no marinara sauce, it's not pizza.
No, chocolate chip pizza. A little cookie dough on the crust, chocolate chips. I mean,
I'll try anything.
Come on. But let's get into what Shane Beamer had to say. We listen and react. Gamecock fans out there want to hear from you as well. 844-326-3663. That is now. Here is what Shane Beamer had to say. And his opening. There we go. Whoa. Wait, what's happening?
How come we weren't invited to this? I
Time
like
out.
boats. I like fishing.
Time out. Yeah, I'm going to Columbia Saturday. You asked me, are you sure? I said, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going. Well, let me rewind this. Did he say that, what I thought? Both and football on the same day? The way you said it.
Come on, Shane.
Oh my gosh, let's just stop
Calling
the audio
out.
Is this the greatest open to a Shane Beamer press conference ever? I mean, are you kidding me?
Come check out our boats. We have a sale going on Saturday. Great financing options. Number two, come on, you're throwing your wife under the bus for buying too much Amazon. And that's come on, Shane. You make what? What does he make? Like $6.5 million. Shane, you can get a boat anytime you want to get a boat.
I think you can get a bass boat for 15, 20, 30 grand. Pretty good one, right? That is the best Shane Beamer audio ever.
Besides, Shane, you're a man. You're 40. If you want a boat, go get a boat.
Let's hear the Amazon part one more time. Oh my God.
That is exactly why
my
wife and I do not have joint checking accounts. You Tolos were giving me a hard time for it a couple of weeks ago, saying, "Oh, you just put all your money in one pot."
Yeah.
No, my wife buys too much on Amazon too.
That's good.
So that's why we don't have the same checking account.
That's such good audio. That's the best part of my day. I needed that. What a great piece of audio, I believe, from yesterday from Shane Beamer when he was talking to the local media. Do you think if South Carolina beats Missouri and I go to the press conference, now that he said what he said, What do you think Shane Beamer's response to me would be if they beat, I said Missouri, I meant Vandy. If they beat Vandy, what do you think his response to me would be, Diesel, if after the game I asked him, well, Coach, you got your first SEC win? Good news. Happy household, happy wife, happy life. Do you think you can get a boat now? Do you think she would? Do you think Miss Beamer would allow him to get a boat now that
I think there needs to be an if-then scenario. He needs to sit down with Emily, have that conversation, and say, "Hey, if I get 5 SEC wins this year, I get to buy a boat," and she has to say yes to that.
Gosh,
I mean, come on.
what terrible stipulations! So bad, but man, we hadn't even got to the football conversation. I'm going. I want to see Shane Beamer. The boats. I mean, maybe you can Gamecock fans out there can go down there and buy yourself a boat in the at Gamecock Park. Now, let's see what he actually said about the game Saturday. I'm joking. Do you know why he said that about there's one? He has noticed, and I paused the audio because I wanted to point this out. That's funny.
Oh,
He has the crutch, I guess you would call it, right? The crutch, or he uses as well a lot. We all have different crutches.
Yeah.
And it was drawn to his attention that as well is a crutch of Shane Beamer. So now he's trying to do better, Diesel. I thought that was pretty good. 4 minutes.
That's media training right there.
Yeah. 4 minutes and only one as well.
well.
He said there's one. The fact that he notices it, though.
Now we should do Cole Bryson's howevers.
However, there's 3, right?
Yeah,
I can give you 4. However, I will say, before we get to the injury news, which is important because Saturday he was really concerned about that.
Yeah.
The respect that he has for Vandy, it makes you, when you hear that, Diesel, it makes you kind of slap yourself in the face a little bit and realize, yeah, we're in 2025. College football's in a different world when a coach is talking about a Vanderbilt team this highly regarded, and he's not just blowing smoke. He's being serious.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in the SEC, you have your pecking order, and Vanderbilt's been at the bottom for a long time with your Mississippi States, and there's not a ton of bottom feeders in the SEC. There's like a few at the bottom, maybe one or two. And then you got a big pack in the middle, and then you got your pack of 4 or 5 elites. And the problem is Mississippi State's not really doing it up. I mean, I guess they just upset Arizona State. But think about, it wasn't that long ago. Mississippi State was kind of a sexy place to be, right? They were decent under Leach. Before that, what was it? Wasn't Kevin Sumlin, was it, who was there? That they were pretty good for a year or two. But point is, there's not a lot of up and down movement in the SEC. There's that big fat pack right in the middle that any of them can beat you on any given day.
Fat pack, I like that. Similar to the Rat Pack, right?
Yeah.
Not to be confused for the Rat Pack. But I do think it's important to note when it comes to injuries, Beamer said that they're in a lot better shape than he thought. I told you Saturday night, he told us media that, oh boy, I don't even want to get on this road right now because the injury report's not good, right? So let's hear what Beamer had to say this week about the injury report going into Saturday night's game against Vandy. So that's the new, the conference deal, right? Dabo talked about it in his presser yesterday, Diesel. If you got to release the report on Thursdays. And I don't know if you remember this, Dabo said yesterday, he said, I think that's for gambling or something like that. Dabo wasn't exactly sure what the reports were.
Dabo's cracking jokes about going out in the parking lot and drinking. He's cracking jokes about the gambling.
He didn't know.
He knows what's happening.
He didn't know. He's at least he acted like he didn't know. So he does say there, again, Beamer didn't go into injuries in depth there. But he does say trending in the right direction. I have heard that they're going to get Judge Collier back, which is big. When you talk about what Vandy does to a defensive secondary, especially like they did in the second half against Virginia Tech, you've got to have Judge Collier back there. And I don't know what degree his health will be at on Saturday night, but you've got to have a guy like him out there. You got to have that veteran experience because, Diesel, the reality is, Diego Pavia can put stress on the defense in so many different ways. You've got to be at your best on Saturday. And again, I know that sounds wild, but when you have a quarterback that's kind of sporadic, shifty, mobile, can throw, got a good arm, you've got to be at full strength in the SEC, man.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Vanderbilt's going to have to do to contain Lenore's Sellers. He's accurate with his arm. He's got a big arm, and he can really launch it down the field. And, of course, we know he's big and can run over you in the running game, and he's shifty enough that he can get around you. I mean, this is going to be two really good quarterbacks on display. Going to be a must-watch game.
No doubt. A few more minutes we have. Let's get to a couple of questions from the media from yesterday with Shane Beamer. Well, after
talking about you?
No, he's not talking. I didn't go to a concert in the Rose Bowl. I'm in radio. So Paul's right there. We asked Jake Veltri this yesterday, right? Why the run game wasn't getting on track? Is it more about the the running backs? Is it more about the offensive line? Here's Beamer's answer. So that is, I think, Diesel, the number one conversation piece, the glaring issue, if you will. The run game combined with the offensive line. Who's to blame? Who needs to get better? He just said in that answer there that they plan on starting the same 5 this week in the offensive line than they did last week. They weren't able to do that from the Virginia Tech game. Obviously, the last week South Carolina State game. We all know that continuity up front is important. Having those guys up there. Last week you started a true freshman at left guard who had not started yet. So obviously it's tough. He wasn't able to play against Virginia Tech, talking about Surratt. So the continuity I'm sure will help. But I look at this game, Diesel, and this run game as when you go against Vandy, South Carolina, plain and simple, is going to have to figure out somehow, some way how to get this run game going.
Yeah, I mean, the question is Oscar Attaway going to step up and be that true game-breaking presence? He's been solid.
Hadn't been yet.
He's had a couple of good runs here and there, but you're right. He's not blowing away Rasul Faison when it comes to yards per carry. He's getting the bulk of the carries, and Rasul, it's about a 2-to-1 margin. And one of them is going to have to step up and be that guy.
That's right.
Oscar's been around in this program for a while. Faison, he's a former Mountain West was he second team All Mountain West last year. So he's clearly a really good running back. Now they got to show why they brought him in the first place, because so far through 2 games, limited sample size, it's begging the question, why were we making such a big deal out of this guy?
And again, I just think before we run to a break, I think ultimately when you look at South Carolina's success in 2025 and what kind of success, Diesel, they can have, I think it all starts up front. I don't care how good Lenoris is. I don't care how good and fast Nick Harbor is. You've got to figure this up front out. And I know that wording was a little you've got to figure it out up front. You've got to be better in the offensive line. You've got to run the football. You're not going to win many SEC football games if you can't run the football, plain and simple. If they can't, it's going to be a tough season. If they can, I like where they're at, but that's my biggest concern right now.
Yeah, well, you've had 2 weeks to figure it out. Now you're getting into SEC play.
There you go.
And I know it's not the same as high school ball where kind of the non-region games don't really matter that much for playoffs down the road. But this is when it really matters. All right, you've had 2 wildly different kinds of opponents, and I'm sure there's still a lot of question marks within that coaching staff. What do we really have? What combinations work the best? Who's healthy? How can we get them in situations to be successful? What are they really good at? What are they not as good at? I mean, coaches spend all season figuring this kind of stuff out. This week, obviously, a great test. I'm excited for it. I think Vandy's got a real good shot at upsetting them, but I wouldn't call it.
No,
because that environment's going to be amazing. And you know that what does that stadium hold? 87,000, 88,000 South Carolina fans. They're going to be insane Saturday night.
No doubt. Should be a lot of fun.
When we come back, Cole, let's rejoin our conversation from earlier in the show. The Hub City Spartanburgers in the playoffs and now got that 1-0 feeling. They got to win one more to make it to the South Atlantic League Championships.
Let's go.
Can't wait. We had a great conversation earlier with Ian Unsworth and his travel partner, broadcaster for the Hub City Spartanburgers. We'll play that back for you again next.